instances where the agencies, other state agencies, law enforcement agencies that we give fiat to prosecute cases have been questioned. I remember one was on SEPS, Custom Excise and Preventive Service.
Giving them a fiat to be able to prosecute.
Yes, so that was, they used to be called SEPS, now they are part of GRA. At the time they were SEPS, they had a fiat to prosecute. But when the legislative review came and they became part of GRA is now a new legal entity. They were prosecuting someone who said that they didn't have a fiat. They were trying to say that they had a fiat when they were SEPS or something. But now they don't have it. The courts decided in that case that since you don't have the fiat, you couldn't, Recently there was a couple of cases like that. So this is just a normal thing that happens if you are, of course, if you are being prosecuted and you have any doubt as to who the authority of the person prosecuting you, I think you are entitled to, as it were, challenge it. And that's what the person did. We were not aware of this case. That's the Office of the Attorney General. Personally, I don't even know this accused person. This file has never come to our office. We, just like everyone else, got to know of the decision that the court has ordered that we should go and take over the cases on grounds that the OSP was not able to show that they have authorization from the Attorney General, contrary to their own act. So the case that happened in the High Court had nothing to do with constitutional interpretation. Because the act, I don't know if you have looked at the act, but the act specifically says that
the objects right in front of you.
Yeah, subject to Article 88, the OSP will prosecute based on the authorization of the Attorney General. That's what the legislation says. So the person is saying that if you are prosecuting me, then you should show your authority note upon which you are prosecuting. That the OSP was not able to show. So the court...
Right, to the extent that a similar matter is currently before the Supreme Court, and in a criminal jurisdiction of the High Court, that judge had stayed their hand, deferring on to the Supreme Court to make a decision. Many will say the general jurisdiction could have stayed its hand as well. Yes, that doesn't fall within your remit, but
yeah,
in terms of what played out.
In terms of what, I don't have the full record, but what I know is that the mere pendency of a similar matter in the Supreme Court does not operate as a stay to any court that is deciding. It is good if the court is aware, right, or it has been brought to the court's attention, and the judge decides that, well, I will wait. That is fine. Even if a judge knows and decides that I won't wait, I will make my decision, it doesn't invalidate the decision itself. Yet you may question the judge's discretion as to whether to wait or not, especially when I have no evidence that it was brought to the judge's attention and was he was prayed to stay. But be that as it may, like I said, we were not parties to the case, so we didn't know what happened. The decision has been made, and we have been asked to ordered to do certain things. So we just have to do it. Why would someone interpret this as we are in a hurry to take over the cases of the special prosecutor?
In reading the orders of the High Court, which has now become the subject of the conversation, yes, he ordered that the AG takes over the cases pending authorization to the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Precisely.
Many will say that should be of concern to the Attorney General, given that authorization for that matter to proceed.
It is
instead of.
It is of concern to us.
The decision to want to openly come out and state that, okay, we're taking over, and no mention at all as to authorization.
No. What I put out yesterday did not say that we are taking over cases.
In the coming days.
I said we'll take steps to give effect to the decision of the court, right? So, like you said, we should be concerned because as far as we know, all prosecutions in the country is being done in our name.
Well, so that's the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Edem Srem-Sai. And what you just heard him say is one that has generated a lot of conversation about. Stay with us, because the full complement of his response to some of the issues we will play. exclusively here on the key point. So, Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai is going to be speaking this morning here on the key point. But the General Jurisdiction Division 10 of the High Court in Accra ordered the Attorney General to immediately take over all criminal prosecutions currently being handled by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, pending formal authorization from the Attorney General's office. And that's an instructive development, what we saw this week. In that ruling, the court also declared all ongoing prosecutions initiated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor null and void, effectively halting the multiple cases across various courts. Now, that's another consequence of what happened. Additionally, the court awarded the cost of 15,000 Ghana cedis against the OSP. Now, this decision stems from a case involving 4 individuals under investigation by the OSP, including Alhaji Seidu of the National Insurance Commission, James Kekosei, a former director at the office of the Vice President, or the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, and the Customs Officer, John Aban, and Peter Archibald Hyde. Now, the individuals are accused of conspiring to seize containers using forged documents and a falsified letter purportedly from the office of the former Vice President. Now, this matter has been running for quite a while. So Peter Archibald Hyde, one of the accused, one of the 4 persons I just mentioned, filed a judicial review application seeking to quash the OSP's decision to prosecute. This is what has resulted in all of this. And this matter this morning is going to be a topical issue, whether or not the High Court overreached its boundaries and powers in delivering this judgment. We've seen the full details of the judgment. In fact, it brings out other matters of conversation, which we will get into this morning here on the key point. So stay with us. As I did indicate, we'll have some lawyers joining us this morning, and then also the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai, will be speaking. Just portions of what he said is what you just watched. The full complement of it you'll see here on the key point. Now, this morning as well, the matter of the interventions by government regarding the fuel prices that have been increasing at the pumps as a result of what's been happening, the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran. There's a major development in the last 24 hours. Iran has opened the Strait of Hormuz to commercial vessels. Now, how soon or how quickly will this trickle down to the consumer in terms of the impact it would have on the reduction of prices at the pumps? You know why? Because the crude oil prices on the world market has already started declining in less than 24 hours after the announcement by Iran that the Strait of Hormuz has been opened. We would have the major stakeholders in this sector joining us this morning. The Energy Ministry. We'll also have the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies also joining us. So stay with us. We have a big conversation this morning. As always, you're an integral part of it. So many ways you can connect with us here on the Key Point. We are also live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, and the Voice of London television, and a number of radio stations across the country, including Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. I am Alfred Okonsi. Welcome to the Key Point. We will be back shortly after this quick break. My guests will take their seat. We'll have a conversation. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. And as always, Key Point is brought to you by the Bank of Africa, Strong as a partner, and then also GASEM, the nation builder. Now, a number of you have already started sending us messages regarding this matter of the OSP Attorney General. As I indicated, it's going to be our second matter we'll get into. But as you see behind me, there's a lot that's been happening when it comes to the price of crude oil on the world market, and that's what's going to be our poll tracker for the morning. Let's get into the poll tracker right now. Welcome back. Now, in the last 24 hours, very interesting development regarding this, what you're seeing right now, and at least this particular area, because of Iran's decision now to open the Strait of Hormuz for the commercial vessels carrying crude oil to now go through. When this announcement was made, there's been some sharp movement, right from when we saw about $99 a barrel crude oil selling around that time, almost $100, now dropping at some point to about $86. We're waking up this morning to about $90 a barrel. There's a projection that it would keep reducing, all things being equal, as we go in the coming days. But this is it. This is the kind of traffic that we're seeing. This we picked from the live feed that we're going to put out on the screen right now, that we got even from the various, that's even Iran and then also the United States, who are watching this quite closely as to what's happening. This is the kind of traffic that was created as a result of this war. So you have this number of vessels that were stuck waiting to be given access. So there's a lot of movement right now as we speak. As of this morning, in fact, we've been monitoring quite closely, and this is what we're seeing. And look, when it comes to the computation of price of petroleum products at the pumps, this is it. These are the three components as we do know it. The exchange rate or the exchange differentials, that's how strong the cedi is against the dollar. And then also the taxes and levies. What we understand is that now the taxes and levies, government has touched a few of them to give us the cushioning that we had this week. 2 cedis off diesel, and then that's about 36 pesos off petrol. We'll be getting a bit more into that, because the people who sat to arrive at this decision, we have one person who speaks for them, at least one of them in the studio, to try and understand how much is even going to cost government with what the decision that has been taken to cushion the Ghanaian, right? But with what has happened now with the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, this is how big the impact is on Ghana. Even though we source 20% of our direct needs, fuel needs, from UAE, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, even the other countries that we rely on still have vessels going through the Strait of Hormuz. So it's a complete effect that we had as a result of the war. And what we have seen now, as of the 16th of April, the last 3 days, the announcement by government saying the reduction petrol and diesel. We'll be finding out if it actually took effect in this pricing window, this second pricing window in the month of April, because that was the objective. The Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies CEO is with us in the studio, so we want to understand if this announcement that took place just the day before the second pricing window of April kicking in actually took effect, and if it did, how do we actually see it at the pumps? Could it have been higher than what we saw on the 16th of April? We'll get some details on that one as well. But according to the estimated loss of revenue, if this continues in terms of the cushioning that government has announced, earlier in the week we got a figure of about 200 to 250 million Ghana cedis on within every pricing window. So the pricing window is 2 weeks. So we did a monthly computation, and we'll be getting some details from the Energy Ministry as well. Currently, this is how much fuel, that's petrol and diesel, is selling at the minimum. 13 cities, 27 pesos, and then we have sell over 16 cities, 10 pesos at the minimum. When we checked with the National Petroleum Authority in terms of how much petrol and diesel we have in our stock right now, that was before the decision to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. We have just a little over 5 weeks cover of petrol as of yesterday, and just a little over 6 weeks cover of diesel. That is how, in terms of stock, we're talking about. Already, there are those who say beyond this decision by Iran, there still has to be the thinking to ensure that we improve on our reserve in the stock levels. This conversation must continue. It shouldn't stop, even though there's been this decision that has been taken by Iran. And this is why I bring in my guest who was seated already. The Honorable Andy Apiakobi is a former Member of Parliament for Asante-Achim North Constituency. He's a private legal practitioner as well. Honorable Andy Apiakobi, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, my brother, and thank you for bringing me here.
Perfect.
And,
also,
it's, good morning to my good friends also.
Great.
Panelists.
Wonderful. Also joining us is Dr. Riverson Opong, is the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Also, Richmond Roxon is the spokesperson to the Energy Minister and the Director of Corporate Affairs of the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. He's also a lawyer. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Alfred. Let me say good morning to my learned seniors and my good friend, Dr. Riverson. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Also joining us this morning is Martin Luther Pebu. He is... No, that's...
Ekupado's friend.
You want me to...
I'm the Ekupado's friend.
Ekupado's friend. Yes.
Oh, he's back. In the last 2 weeks, you've been away.
Easter break. It's good to take a break. It helps. These are constant debates, etc. It's good I was off for 2 weeks so that, I can also have some introspection.
Indeed.
Yes.
So you've done some introspection.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here once again. Back on Ghana's #1 talk show. Yeah, unparalleled, undisputed, unstoppable, right? Really, really unstoppable. Yeah, we are riding a wave, shattering all the charts. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So once again, we want to do our rituals. Today we start with men above 40, that they should be doing the prostate check. Dr. Rivers, you don't know, I do some constant announcements that men above 40 should take the opportunity to go and check their prostate, check, because they say that's what the doctors say. From age 40, you should be checking before things go bad, because sometimes people don't go early and some even lose their lives. That's what we're saying. So then once again, want to thank people who stood up when the Kufuado was maltreating us. The one yes, but friends, the Bible says you have to tell your brother the truth. So yes, but I tell you that as long as I live and as long as I come here, it's a reminder. You see?
Of how not to govern.
Exactly, and also that will be a reminder to JM. Just like now, we are picking up a fight with JM that no, this overprotection of Kissie Jabin is not on. Yes, from all my indications, some CSOs went to see him, begging him to protect Kissie Jabin, and we say no, let the law take its course. Because the things against Kissie Jabin are too many.
We'll get there.
There's only promotion of corruption, not a fight.
We'll get there.
So those are the things. So Togbe after that, thank you very much. Akpekaka Togbe. Right, so for Kufu Yasantua, thank you. Domahini, Osiadio, Ajima Bedu the second, and the Gamanche, Kentucky Tekuchru the second. Thank you. These are the men of valor, the men who stood up, men who spoke. They didn't think about only their families. The thing that is killing us. The thing that is killing us, that we're so selfish. You think about only your wife and kids. That won't build a nation. let's think about the
Martin,
collective.
let me support your campaign. Even those who have prostate, it is not hopeless.
Thank
the
you.
Facilities at Kolebu, excellent.
Excellent.
You come out of Kolebu having taken the program, and you are excellent and ready to go. Nothing whatsoever
Very good.
will undermine your health.
Thank you.
status.
Thank you. So be willing to
the
step out there.
technology is here in Ghana, in Kolebu, and
Okay.
I promise you, and I'm a witness, I'm saying that you will come out of Kolebu very healthy and ready to go.
And ready to fire, right? I say ready to fire, not ready to.
Thank you for this. Thank you
Yes,
for
and
this.
then
Save me your prophenic.
And this we got a notice from the Ghana Health Service also acknowledging what you do on every Saturday. So
Thank you.
that's just for you to know. Thank you.
And the last one, the people
quickly.
who pee outside, please.
It's important.
Yeah, great reminder for the men. We've told you, please find bottles, keep in your car. If you don't have a car, put the bottle in your backpack. When the emergency comes, you turn and find a corner. You can pee into the bottle. When you get home, then dispose of it. I see Professor Jampo's flask. Yeah, in an emergency, you can pee into the flask. There's no right for you to pee on the ground.
That is if you can enter.
Yes, it should be sufficient. There'll be enough space. Please, you can't pee outside. That's the thing we are saying. It's embarrassing. You see somebody holding iPhone 17 Pro Max, and he's peeing on the roadside. He comes out of a V8, and he's peeing. I'm like, is this lunacy? You come out of a V8 with iPhone to the ear, and then one hand peeing. I'm like,
He pee by the car tire.
I'm like, what is this?
Important.
Why you could have peed inside your
You
car?
haven't seen nothing yet.
Oh,
Thank you for this.
please.
It's an important advocacy. Professor Ransford Jampo is the CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. He's a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon. And the reason why I add this is that he still goes back to the lecture hall to lecture. So that's on record. Prof, good morning.
Morning, Alfred. Good morning to my colleague panelists here. And good morning to my shippers. Dear shippers, we are still working for you. At the moment, there is one of the charges of the shipping lines that we are working on, container administrative charges, and we are dialoguing with them, and we are hoping that we'll be able to achieve a certain consensus that will ensure that we contribute our quota to reducing the cost of doing business. So greetings to all of you. Greetings to my mother, Auntie Mabel. I'm sure she's watching. And then to my family people, both in Latte, Ikuapem, and Sunipa House, and also Prabio Street, A31. Greetings to all of them. Martin, to join your advocacy against peeing outside, it's a serious matter. See, it's like the system outside reforms you. The system in Ghana also trains you in a certain way.
Yes.
We're driving in New York and with a cousin, and he wanted to pee. He doesn't like coffee, but in the cup was a colleague, a friend of ours who was drinking a very black coffee. He drank the black coffee and peed in the
Yes, and that's
cup.
why I thought when you get to America,
And
that's the first thing.
I visited a friend. He was fixing his car. That was in the UK, at the backyard of their house. And then, whilst fixing the car, he asked, "Can I use the bathroom?" And we were at the 10th floor. He climbed from backyard to the 10th floor just to go and pee and come. So I think the bit about do not unite here, people write it and then they turn their eyes and then be peeing and then the guys peeing by car tires and all that so that it doesn't spread. I mean, all these things are not. I think we should outgrow some of these things. Yeah.
Thank you.
I enjoyed in that campaign.
Thank you very much for this. Now, it's some 21 minutes to of there. Let me just remind you that the key point is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and GASEM, the nation builder. Now, as I indicated to you, a number of things have happened this week regarding the fuel prices. And I'll start off with you, Richmond Roxon. This week, we had the announcement, the cushioning that government announced that 2 cedis off diesel and then 36 pesos off petrol. What went into this? Quickly.
Let me say good morning to your cherished viewers. The issue of fuel pricing is a very sensitive one. In our part of the world, fuel prices affect practically everything. When you look at the effect on petroleum, even with our daily lives, businesses, it has a ripple effect. And so if prices of petroleum products go up, definitely you're going to see cost of transportation go up. You're going to see cost of food go up. And even cost of doing business. When this administration took over in January 2025, you had fuel prices hovering around 15, 16, 17 Ghana cedi, depending on the OMC you purchase from. Of course, it's a deregulated market, and so you don't have one price. And the government had managed the fuel prices very well. If you look at the components that we have control over, there are three main components. You look at the international prices for goods, for petroleum products. That's for finished and crude oil. You also look at the exchange rate, and then taxes, levies, and margins. When it comes to the exchange rate, I'm sure that nobody can dispute what the government has done when it comes to managing the fiscal space. That's one of the three components that you have control over.
Okay.
And so we've moved from an average of about 16 to 17 Ghana cedi to the dollar to around 10 or 11 Ghana cedi if you're using the BOG rate. And if you ask COMAC or BDC or even Senor, Senor had been in this industry for years, they'll tell you that if you have even 0.20 or even 0.5, it can have a very serious impact on pricing. And so the government managed that very well. And for about a month or two ago, we had seen fuel prices come even under 10 Ghana cedi to a litre by some OMCs. Unfortunately, we all know what is happening in our geopolitics. In the last 4 weeks, in the last 5 to 8 weeks, you've had fuel prices move up drastically. You moved from under 10 Ghana cedi from some OMCs to about 13 Ghana cedi average for petrol. And for diesel until last week, you're looking at about 17 Ghana cedis to a litre.
Yes.
And so for a government that has managed fuel prices from 17 to 10, obviously it should tell you that it's a priority area for His Excellency the President and the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Jinapo. So the government convened an emergency cabinet meeting to look at the issue of pricing and then supply when it comes to our petroleum products. For supply as a country, we've done very well, absolutely well. In some jurisdictions, energy ministers or even those in charge of regulatory bodies for petroleum have been arrested or are being prosecuted as a result of fuel shortage or mismanagement of that sector. For us, we haven't had any issue with supply. Our checks with MPA, that is the regulator, shows that currently we have about 7 weeks.
Well, so this is what I just showed earlier. Yeah.
We have
almost 7 weeks of diesel, almost 6 weeks of petrol as of yesterday.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
So we have about 7 weeks, and we've had that for some time now. Even with that, the government has a number of policies when it comes to our strategic stock. That's eventually the government will roll out. And so for supply, we've done very well, and I'm sure that it will be good to commend COMAC, with the BDCs, and all industry players, stakeholders for what has been achieved.
Okay.
What the challenge has to do with the pricing. As I mentioned, His Excellency the President convened cabinet. Cabinet's decision was in unison that the government has to intervene.
Okay.
Because if you look at the effects, we allow petroleum prices to go up over the roof. What it means is that if you're not careful, it will affect inflation. It will throw the fiscals out of balance. It will affect goods and services, and then we'll end up paying more for goods. Unfortunately, in this country, when goods and services go up, even when you see a reduction in the factors, we are very hesitant in reducing it. sometimes the policy, but
politics we will have to confront the situations critically and objectively.
Yes.
But because of that politics.
Even on our beyond the politics, if you go to the shops now, 2022, 2023, for the price of goods and services that we witnessed and what we've seen today, they've gone down drastically.
Okay, I was asking about what went into.
No, I'll come down. I'll come down.
Yes,
Yes, they've gone down. So the government's decision was to ensure that at least there's some cushioning for consumers. And so there's been a critical analysis by the Ministers for Energy and Green Transition and the Minister for Finance, that's Dr. Jinapo and Dr. Atuforsen. There's been a comprehensive review of the price build-up, the component that has to do with taxes, levies, and margins. And in order not to hurt the industry, not to hurt the economy, and also protect consumers, the government decided to intervene with a 2 Ghana cedi on diesel and then 0.36 Ghana cedi on petrol. A lot of people have tried to look at how the government arrived at that decision.
Yes, how did you arrive at these 2 cedis for diesel?
I'll say it's taking some brilliance for the government to get there, because if you look at, some people have argued that it has to do with margins. If you look at the margins alone, it's not going to give you the effect that we are seeing today.
So what did you do?
What we did is that, like I mentioned, you looked at the taxes, margins, and levies, and you did some realignments there in order to protect the people of Ghana. And so it is not just about the margins, it's about the whole structure when it comes to levies, taxes, and then margins in order to protect the consumer.
Okay. Let me at this point. Let me introduce. Let me introduce you first before you start talking. Wait, Senor Jose is the former Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. So for this conversation, I'm referring to that in his previous capacity.
And an advisor to all the 5 past ministers of energy.
So
starting from the NDC.
An advisor to all at least the last 5.
Yeah, starting from the NDC.
Last 5 ministers of energy.
Yeah.
Okay. And also one of the conveners for the One Ghana movement. Senor Jose, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. It's always a pleasure to be here. I miss my 3 presidents, you know. That's my former president. This is also our former president.
That's right.
Yeah, this man. Yeah.
It's all Legon people here.
Legon people. Yeah. I went to advanced technical school.
I suspect mischief.
Advanced technical school is not there.
Thank you.
There's only all Legon.
Yeah, the only university of the whole Ghana. There's only one university of the whole Ghana.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Oh, this was advanced technical school. Don't do that.
Thank you very much.
Because my brain works.
This one is
Anyway, thank you. Now, because you see the point you made about
he went to do masters in
creativity, yes, the creativity coming about this cushioning, gentlemen, this cushioning. If you didn't look at just the margins and the taxes, then what did you do? Because within the week, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Riverson, seated by you, was raising questions about the financial impact that this decision to cushion us, which has been indeed welcomed widely.
How much have they reduced?
Is having on them, which we will come to. So you were on the path of giving us some details of what you did to arrive at this. Mr. Roxon,
yes.
Before I go to Dr. Riverson, yes.
Like I mentioned, it was a combination of looking at the levies, the taxes, and then the margins.
Okay.
And so that will definitely cost government some revenue, it will cost government some money, and at the end of the day, it will give the consumers some cushioning.
I see.
I'm sure that you are still looking for the fine details of what exactly or how government got into that decision. That is not something that we would want to put out, because it's a very sensitive matter. But what I can assure the people of Ghana is that it is not going to be a subsidy where eventually it's going to cost government money. By saying that OMC sell at 2 cedis and that or sell at 10 cedis, you're supposed to sell at 12, but we're going to give you fiscal cash to do that. No, we've looked at it. There's been some reductions in some spaces. There've been some interventions with some but it will still protect the consumer, protect the industry. MPA will still be able to operate in it. And the most important thing is that the people of Ghana have seen the impact of it already. When you go to the pumps, it's reflected. We are seeing what the pricing is now. Per the analysis that we did, PMS, which is petrol, was supposed to go up, but with the intervention, it's come down marginally. For diesel, it was also supposed to go up up to about 18 Ghana cedis. It's gone down. If you look at what Star Oil and then Goil, both OMCs are doing.
You're not talking about JP and Icon.
No, I'm using that as a benchmark. For benchmark, you can't take everyone.
I agree.
You can't take everyone. And
but
so,
JP and Icon are giving very quality fuel. I mean, at
I
competitive
don't have a
prices
problem with
as
that.
well.
We can also look at those prices. Like I said, you can't take every OMC. And so when you are doing the analysis, you look at some benchmark that you can have. If you look at the two leading, and I use that because they're the two leading, they control significant parts of the market share. They are doing about 16.10, which will mean that we've seen some significant reduction there. But for this intervention, prices would have gone up. That is not in doubt. And if you look at government's intervention, diesel has the intervention is 9 Ghana cedi on diesel for a gallon, and then for petrol is about 2 Ghana cedi for petrol.
Why that much for diesel and just 2 cedis for petrol?
Yes, if you look
that
at
is on a gallon.
Yes, the data. I'm sure the data speaks for itself. One, diesel is used largely by commercial drivers, industries, companies, and so its impact will affect businesses. Number two, the gap between the two. You've had, at all times, you've seen the two products. At all times, you've seen diesel go up more than the petrol. But if you look at the gap today, you're looking at a gap of about 4 Ghana cedis. In fact, at a point in time, diesel was doing 17.1, and then petrol was doing 13. And so if you want any intervention, of course, you'd want to see some parity at that level. And so that's why government was heavy on diesel to bring it down, to at least close the gap. Largely when it comes to petrol, it's used by the private individuals. Not that the government does not care. There's been some intervention, but the impact on diesel on our economy is high. And so that's why we're heavy on that.
I see. So how much is this intervention costing government? This, what you announced this week, the two cedis for diesel and 36 pesos for petrol per liter, which translates into about 9 cedis on a gallon for diesel and about 2 cedis for petrol. How much is it costing government?
If you look at the realignment of what we've done, it's the net effect is about 200 million cedis per pricing window. That would be the net effect.
So 200 million Ghana cedis is what government is losing in terms of revenue as a result of this
yes, the net
intervention.
effect. The net effect, yes, because...
so that would be, all things being equal, 400 million in a month.
Over 400 million.
Over 400
yes,
million
over 400.
in a month.
So within the window, between 400 to 500 million, the entire month, because this intervention is for 1 month, let me emphasize. That is for 1 month, and within the window, that's what is going to cost government. But you look at the impact it will have on consumers and the economy as compared to those taxes, margins, and levies that you've lost. And I'm sure that you agree that that's a necessary decision that the government had to take.
I see. And Dr. Everson, when this announcement was made this week...
In fact, let me just emphasize one last point. That earlier in the week, Dr. Everson also mentioned that this intervention is not from government, it's from the industry. I'm sure...
I didn't say that.
Well, no, okay, let me put it this way. It's been widely published. It's been widely published.
I didn't say that this intervention...
No, let me say, it's been widely published. Let's just say that. You didn't say that. It's the media that has been quoted.
We will get there.
It's been widely published that the intervention is not by industry and that it's not by government, but rather industry. That is not accurate.
Okay.
Those levies, taxes, and margins are monies that come to government. Those are revenues due government. When government receives its revenue, the government determines how those revenues are used. And so you can have your taxes, you can have the levies. It goes into specific areas. But at the end of the day, it is not in doubt that it's an intervention by government.
Okay. So I received this statement from you, okay? And yes, you express appreciation to government for this intervention, but then again, you raise significant concerns regarding the financial burden, this reduction that we have, the cushioning for the consumer is having on you industry players, which has not been sufficiently addressed by government. What are those? I have this, but just go into it quickly.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Roxanne, for the intervention. So, based on where you sit, you can see 6 as 9.
What do you mean?
I will see 6 as 6, and we can argue our point out, and both are right. Okay. When you're speaking for a government or for the government, you can state that margins are revenue due government. You are allowed to say that. But from where I sit...
Is that not what it is?
Well, I said, from where I sit, these margins came to provide service for the industry. That was the error he was trying to correct by me saying that the money is for the industry.
Yeah.
The money he created himself, not an error on my part.
The recordings are there. You can go back and play them.
Well, that's why I said maybe the media.
Well, I said that the recordings are there. I know what I said.
Okay.
What I said is still consistent, and I'm saying it. The margins that the government has taken away are margins to serve a purpose.
True.
It is not to Ministry of Finance as revenue of government for the Ministry of Finance to determine what to do with it. The margins came with an ally, stated what is there to do. So it is the consumer paying for the service in the industry. So UPF is for tracking. PDM is for transporting fuel from depot to depot. Tell me how this is government revenue. It is a margin to serve a purpose in the industry. That's what I meant. Okay? This is the industry language. And I'm speaking very technical. Technical here.
Okay.
So this is just about the revenue aspect.
All right.
But let me also emphasize that what the government has done is good, and we appreciate it, we acknowledge it, and that one we cannot take it out of the conversation.
Okay. So
because like Roxy said, if not because of this intervention, diesel would have been sold around 19 cities, according to our forecast. And petrol would have been around 15 cities. So we appreciate the government for doing that. However, it also brings some burden on the OMCs.
What burden is this?
Now let me say it to you. The government has taken 2 cities from diesel. How much is the total margins? You have percentages. But there's a deficit of 63 pesos. You understand? There's a deficit of 63 pesos against the 2 cities that the government has made. So a typical scenario is this. If I'm selling diesel today to you, I'm discounting at my own cost at 63 pesos, which the government needs to pay me through UPPF, not Ministry of Finance.
This, the UPPF, that's that 90 pesos which has been cut down.
So the 93 pesos today that you see, it has another 63 pesos added to it as discount. Let me tell you about the financial burden here.
No, but Riverson,
let me explain.
How did you come to the conclusion that the 63 pesos must come from UPPF? How did you come by that?
That's the given we have MPA.
No,
that's what they told us.
Yes. That's what they told us.
No, you let me finish.
No, let me moderate this part. You see, I was making an intervention. No, I beg you. It's a technical matter. It's a technical matter.
It's not political.
You want to make an intervention. It's an intervention you want to...
Let me land. So the scenario is this. To explain to you also. When I sell 10 million liters of diesel today as an oil marketing company, it means that I have pre-financed a 6.3 million cedis into that project, hoping that MPA through BPF will pay me. That's working capital we're talking about. And that's the financial burden I'm trying to explain to you. Let me tell you, we had a meeting with MPA on Tuesday before this was announced. That's part of the engagement we had. And the number one question that came out from oil marketing companies, 255 people were on the call. How many oil marketing companies do you have? 210 plus LPGMCs. It's such an important topic that we have 255 members on the call. Number one significant question that came up was, how fast can MPA pay us back after investing in that? Because 6.3 million is a big money to invest. And that 10 million I'm talking about is just a scenario. Some do 20 million liters. Multiply by 2 then. That's the financial burden we are talking about. And this is not politics. This is oil marketing companies' revenue. If I go and borrow money from a bank and I invest it in the business, is the government going to give me back the money? We are not saying that what the government did was bad. We appreciate it. We have a plea that let MPA be able to pay us fast. And I think that's the same argument we're having. Let's not go about whose revenue is it, is government revenue, is the industry. That one is not even important. Yeah. What is important now is that my members, my members want their money to be paid at the end of the month so swiftly. And now let me also give you this scenario. UPPF of 90 cedis
90 pesos.
90 pesos was part of the selling cost to the consumer. That also means that the oil marketing company is able to use that 90 pesos to pay for his freight ahead of time. Now you've zeroed it. That means that the oil marketing company also needs to pre-finance its freight before being paid. This is the financial burden we are talking about. Period. Thank you.
I see. So
just a quick point.
Okay,
just a quick point. All the analysis is done about the risk for the for OMCs. Of course, government recognizes that those are what I'll come there. Those are what we call operational matters. The government's taxes, levies, and margins are not monies that are for business. When you are a business, no, let me come in. I'm coming. I said taxes, levies, and margins, please.
I don't know what margins is.
I said taxes, levies, and margins, okay. Dr. Riverson. I was very categorical in my statement. Those monies are not capital for OMCs. And so when you make the point that the OMCs use the UPPF to pay freight, that is not what it's supposed to be. You as a that's the truth. No.
What's the role of UPPF?
No.
The UPPF is for freight.
No, it's for freight.
What are you telling me?
No. I'm coming.
Okay.
Those margins are monies due government that are managed by NPA. You as a business entity obviously must have your capital. And so you don't make the points that you are going to struggle because the government's money that was coming to you, you were using it as capital or trade to support your business, and so you have a difficulty. What it means is that in the unlikely event that today government decides that, I will not take UPPF again, are you not going to run your business?
In fact, you'll be happy.
That's what I'm saying.
We'll be happy.
That's what I'm saying.
Take UPPF off, we'll be happy.
No,
okay.
We'll be happy.
Hold on. And that's what I'm saying that.
I can't wait for that day.
No, that's what I'm saying.
We'll be happy. Take it off.
No, hold on. I'm coming. That the point about financial burden because government monies come to you and you use it for your business should be remedied. You as a business should have your capital. So I just needed to clear that.
So now the government giving discount to diesel. So now the government giving diesel discounts and asking us to pay finance before it pays us. Is it also right?
When you do the net, assuming without admitting that your point is even right. When you do the net effect, you keep more government money or you have less on it.
We never keep government money.
No, but that's what you are saying.
The money is for freight, so that's what you use it for.
The money is not for you. The money is for freight.
You have your position quite clearly indicated as to how this intervention is impacting on you as oil marketing companies.
That's it.
And government also, and by extension, I'm talking about the Energy Ministry explaining why this is not the case. I would have to move on to the others. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable John Darko. He is the Member of Parliament for the Siame constituency. He's the counsel, the legal counsel for the minority in Parliament, when it comes to matters of law. He's the lawyer to the minority. He's joining us in the studio. Honorable John Darko, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming. Pardon me?
I'm happy to be here, actually.
Indeed. So this is the first time on the platform, so please be kind to him, gentlemen. Yes.
As mentioned before.
He's from the same stock of what?
As mentioned before, I'm not saying anything.
What do you mean?
Did you go to University of Ghana?
Oh, you know what? Okay, so Senor, if you can sit up a bit for me, that would be good. Okay, perfect. Now, please, to you, the Honorable Ndi Appiah Kubi, listening to, in the end, for you as a consumer, the most important thing is the intervention and the cushioning. But now we understand the dynamics as it plays out. But generally, there's an appreciation of what has been done because it cuts down the burden of the increasing prices of petrol and diesel that we were seeing at the moment.
Right. I'm happy that the discussion has been very technical this morning and devoid of politics. I'm happy about that because Ghanaians dilute every possible conversation by way of politicizing and trying to score political points. I'm happy that we have technical people who are speaking their language to us and explaining the circumstances to us. We need to confront the issues as they come objectively. And for me, the intervention is welcome to start with. Commend government for at least bringing some stability in the industry. Number two, the concern of the OMCs and industry players about the cash flow problems is also legitimate. But I would suggest that let parties engage and see how we will ameliorate the pain. The pain will come by all means, but how do we resolve issues coming out of the pain? And it is not impossible to address them. Let us also accommodate each other because we are not in normal times. So everybody will have to also give us some leverage in the solutions. And I want to believe that we have men capable of doing so. And the advocacy from the Ministry of Energy has been fantastic. And I want to commend my good friend, Dr. John Jinapo, for the mature manner he has handled the crisis so far. And he's done that without the political considerations again. So commendations to him. We only hope that going forward, and the crisis have not abated yet. So going forward, how do we sustain? It has been opened, but it has its own consequences because of the reactions from other interest groups. China is in the last few weeks also throwing some bombs. Soviet Union also making some. You see, in the industry, pronouncements even affect, economics somehow. So you cannot be too sure that this stability will continue into the future. But we are praying that industry players will understand each other as we manage the problems collectively. The global influence on local economies are always there for all of us to see. Nobody, and I'm happy that the opposition is also not playing the political game, trying to take political advantage. Responsible opposition. I give that to you also so that they also understand that circumstances of the present are not the same as before. My good friend Josie, he has been the player and the judge in the industry, and I want to commend him. But I commend him because he is from our stock, and he's doing a good job. I'm sure you are not too comfortable.
No. Well, but no, it's a fact you have to mention, which I acknowledge.
It's a fact that we also need to advertise our member, because for you to have a panel of 7 and 6 of them come from the same stock, that's commendable also.
Okay.
The stock, the university, the only university of the whole Ghana.
Okay.
The rest are advanced technical schools. Let's carry on.
Okay, let him end. Let him end the point.
I'm only trying to advertise the quality of my stock.
Are you? Don't digress. Just to stay on the point.
Yes.
I want you to end on what we started with.
Yes. So having duly advertised the only premium university.
Thank you.
Then I will end by saying that the environment so far is very hospitable, and I want us to continue to engage in the industry the way we are doing, because if we continue to create the problems, we, the consumers, will be the sufferers of your infighting. So let's continue to engage, even on the political platform, from one to other, see that country Ghana is the beneficiary of our accommodation.
Thank you very much for this. And Senor, earlier that intervention, I'm bringing you because of the hat you wear as the former CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, and another important stakeholder in the scheme of things when it comes to what we are talking about this morning. And there was a quick intervention you wanted to make earlier regarding the matter of how much the OMCs are taking with regard to the intervention that has been announced so far. Let's do this, and then I'll get some understanding as to when this Strait of Hormuz opening would impact on us positively. Yes.
The issues of petrol need quite some education, and I think that Roxanne has done well, but the reason why I was trying to interject there was to shape his submission, because you need to educate the public well. Your 2 cities didn't come from the sky. It came from particular provisions. So let them know what provisions they are, and also let them know what those provisions mean. He's reacting because of his concerns, not of the present, but of a possible future. So we need to rather educate the public very clearly, because you were asked a very categorical question as to what margins or taxes, or where did that 2 cities, or what is it, 37 pesos?
37 pesos for petrol, 2 cities for
Where did it come from? It didn't come from space. So show the people where it came from. All right, so that's where I have an issue. I've said something with you. I think if it's okay with you, you put it on the screen. So consumers and the public are properly educated. This is key points. The points must be key. It must share new information, new understanding, and hopefully shape policy. So let's look at where your margins have actually come from. What do those margins mean? And then we can discuss it relative to the consumer, and discuss it also relative to, to the PSPs, i.e. the BDCs, the OMCs, and the retailers, everybody. So I don't know. Can we have that on the screen?
We'll put that on the screen.
There's
yes.
Today, the number of margins that the government has largely just touched. It's touched the UPPF. It has touched the which one, the FMM? I forgot the one. Fuel marking. Yes, it's touched the fuel marking. It has touched the boss margin. It has also touched the primary distribution margin. Everyone has a meaning. So I'll walk you all through what they were meant for, all right, and explain to you why government may be able to absorb the implications or the fallout from that provision, and what role industry possibly plays. Well, the primary distribution margin is a margin that is supposed to fund transportation of products between a depot and another depot. As a country, we run a policy called zonalization. So as an oil marketing company, whether you are Goil, you are Icon, you are JP Trustee, whichever it is, you pick fuel from a particular depot or geolocation that is set. We call them zones. So you have BOST having facilities in Kumasi. So the Kumasi people are typically supposed to pick products only from Kumasi. That is to make sure people also don't abuse the system, because we pay for that transportation. But the products don't come from the sea straight into Kumasi. It will come into a depot maybe in Accra or in Takrady at the shore. Or you produce it at a refinery like Tor. And then from there, you have to transport it to the depot again in Kumasi. So the depot-to-depot transportation is what is funded by the primary distribution margin. Then there's another cost, which is another transportation cost, called the UPPF, Unified Petroleum Board Products, whatever fund. I've forgotten the thing. And the reason why we brought in the UPPF, the policy had one objective.
So this is what you're talking about?
Yes, the UPPF is supposed to help prices in the country be the same everywhere. At first, because if you look at transportation, if it was the people in the north will pay more for fuel than the people in the south. And the economic imbalances at the time when this was conceptualized created a lot of wisdom. In America, you don't see that. Because the advantage in somebody's country, somebody up north, is also a disadvantage somebody down south. So it balances out in the economics. Because right now, if I want to buy yam in the south will be cheaper, it will be more expensive than yam in the north. So America finds a balance. But fuel was so critical for our economy, the policy makers and politicians of the time brought in this particular provision called the UPPF. So government, through this margin, pays for the transportation between a depot and a filling station. So every filling station you see, the transporter or the truck you are seeing, that transport is paid for. So that the oil marketing company does not think that it has to price for transportation. It doesn't have to price for transportation. With that, when you take JP or Icon, they are mentioning other people because we always keep mentioning Gold and Star. So we have to, or you go to Allied, whichever it is. Their price in Accra must be the same price in Tamale, in Paga, in in Dirapa, in Ho, or in Takrady. That's the idea, because the transportation is funded for through this margin. So it is a common margin, which is effectively a kind of levy or tax. But we don't say levy or tax, we call it regulatory margins. All right, but everybody pays for everybody's transportation. That is the effect of it. It's like insurance. You understand? So everybody, when you do your transportation, the government will collect all this money, and then you bring a bill that I transported from Kumasi to Ejiso. This is the money that I'm supposed to collect, because there are rates also set for it. Then the other one called the FMM, the fuel marking. The government brought in a policy to help deal with a bit of illegal activity, largely the quality issues, people tampering with the quality of fuel, fuel adulteration. You know, so they put in something, let's call it a dye. It's not a dye, it's a particular kind of chemical that we put in the product when it comes, and we certify that the quality is correct before it leaves the depot. So the MPA can go around every filling station and test and see if the concentration of that particular chemical is still the same. If it's the same, it means that you haven't added a new thing. But if it is lighter, it means that you brought in products from somewhere. If it is higher, then maybe you are actually breaching the entire system. So it was meant to help assure quality of products in the country. It's a service provided for by somebody. The MPA has to pay them. So they charge this to help facilitate that. It doesn't mean that all this money goes to that person. So is it that it doesn't also mean that all the UPPF money collected is what is all used to pay for transportation. You understand? So there's always some buffer in there, and some other projects that go outside of transportation for UPPF. You understand? The UPPF in 2023 or 2022 was 29 pesos. All right, doing more transportation and a few other things. Escalate inflation, you wouldn't be at the 90 pesos that we are charging today. So it's always been known that the UPPF has a lot of buffer, taking on other projects which may not be called to it. So the government looking at this, and I won't lie that some of us were called. You understand? I would say, look, there are spaces here. There's no room for you necessarily on the fiscal side, but the margins may be varied, provided you can maintain paying the people for their transportation. So the OMCs, I hear your perturbation, but you don't have any problem. You have a problem when your bills are not being paid. Correct. Because you've not gone out there and for them to tell you whether the money they are collecting now can still pay you or not pay you.
So the financial impact concerns of the OMCs.
It is worth noting, but it is moot at this time. It is, and I think that a lot of thinking must have gone on, and thankfully you sit on the UPPF committee, management committee. So with that privilege, you should have a proper analysis of what the implications on the fund is. And somehow you should also think about the kind of weight you guys place on the fund. You have created extra weight on that fund. You understand? And policy must change. Let's make sure we deliver things focused. It has become an amorphous beast doing other things, and that's why the margin went up. What I see the government has done has been prudent. But you need to educate the people. The last one I didn't discuss was the boss margin. That margin is supposed to go and facilitate boss and the maintenance of their facilities.
There were
Now,
some calls for it to be scrapped. You don't agree?
I believe it should be scrapped.
Why?
So, it's not, so you let me explain. Understand the thing first before you. When I talk petrol matter, I don't debate. I educate. I'm just telling you. You are in my school. You are in my classroom.
I asked a specific question.
So let me finish.
So
then you will get there.
You answer that.
Now I can answer your question.
Okay.
Let me explain to you what the
Yes.
thing is for. The definition we put in the NI on pricing, I don't know if it's been updated, was for the maintenance of the storage facilities. At the time it was conceptualized, Boss was the only one with a storage facility. Boss was the only one with a storage facility. So maintain it. And later we have had many private, in fact there are more private capacity. The store also who has its own capacity. But you are giving this money to Boss. I said, okay. When you look at the operation of Boss today, Boss is a fully commercial entity driven by policy, and it's a limited liability company. It is not a statutory entity or what the name, a government corporation. It is a limited liability company, unless something else has changed. I don't know. All right. They have these tanks. We have policy that forces people to use their tanks. So we've created monopolistic capacities through policy in favor of Boss. Okay. Boss charges commercial rates like everybody does for their services. If you go and put products in Boss today, you pay, in fact, higher than you go to the private sector, private tanks. Yeah, you can negotiate with the private people. The Boss one is static, unless, of course, they become flexible these days. I don't know. So if they are running commercially, there's no reason to be subventing them with so much. And that thing never used to be 12. It was way lower. So taking a shave off it is not supposed to cripple Boss in any way. Boss has to be responsible about its dealings. If there are services they render which have not been priced and charged for to the state, they should officially charge for it. Don't hide under this. So if you look at every single one here, I do not see reason at this stage to find fault with what government has done. The key thing is that you take UPPF, the transportation margins, what has been collected, what pricing do you use for transportation, review it and make sure that you optimize what you've already collected and a little more you collect. Thankfully, you are there. You should go to that. When I was at the ministry, I was an advisor. I asked for the PDM in particular, for us to even optimize how we transport. Because we don't transport necessarily by road every time. The VLTC is there. Angela and her people are there. They have capacity to give you support. But people like to use the road because that's where they will make more chop-chop. The chop-chop orientation will stop because now there's no space. You have to force a lot more utilization of the transportation on our marine facilities. It reduces our transportation cost. So if government is now waking up to the music or smelling the coffee, it is fantastic. I don't see risk here. Yeah. You have to monitor it to make sure that collections are competent enough. And again, now that you realize that the kitty has become smaller than before, you also have to deal with your people. Those people doing those illegal activities, trying to move transportation, making false claim on the UPPF, those people must be properly dealt with. Correct. You understand? So we bring proper sanity and discipline in the industry. Then we can have efficiency that accrues to the general public. We don't need crisis. We didn't need crisis for us to think this thinking. This thinking that's going on the board right now could have been thought of, but you know, necessity wakes up people's thinking, so we'll take it like that.
Okay. Now,
you haven't paid school fees.
But what is important as well is what we are seeing now with the latest development as we have it, the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. How long would it take for it to impact on us positively, as in we're seeing further reduction? Because crude oil prices, as I showed you earlier, has started coming down, and it is projected to continue declining in the coming weeks, at least, going into the first pricing window in the month of May. Yes.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Senor, for throwing more light into these margins and making it clear that it's for a purpose. It's not as if it was for consolidated fund being used for the services. It's a different thing. You know, this is for services. And I agree with you so much that this has brought necessity to review all these margins. I agree with it. And at the beginning, I also said that it's good, we are okay with it, let's move with it. But I bring some risk to us, especially with the discount of the 63. Because know that GRA is also at the other side waiting to take its money immediately the window is over. So we need to also discuss
that. Be on the taxes.
On the taxes, yeah, no, this one, of course. So now, your question is about the shade of humus. When the ceasefire came up, we saw Platts and Brent coming down swiftly. For two days' time, it started going up because there was also a bit of straightness in how many vessels can go a day. Unlike yesterday, when now we see that it's an real open. Now we have
import through the Strait of Hormuz.
No, sir.
So why are we placing emphasis?
Oh, it's important because unfortunately, apart from that, it affects the global market. Okay, so we are in a global space. So whatever happens anywhere affects you, not because you are taking your fuel from there. And like Richmond said, we are happy with the supply security level because we still get our fuel from the western corridor of the energy market, whereas Kenya, Tanzania are suffering from supply security. But with the effects that we are going to expect should not be imminent. Yesterday, I got an interview with one of the radio stations, and he was asking me, can we see reduction at the pumps tomorrow? I said no, because when this war started, we were all here within the same window where we operated. We didn't increase our pumps. You can testify until the subsequent window. Then we take effect. The idea is that we operate an average pricing window. That what I'm selling in this window was bought from the previous pricing window for today, because there's no fuel I'm selling today that came today from the market.
So you bought it at that initial price?
And it's been stored, it's been moved to bus depots within weeks. That's why we practice the 2 weeks window. And let me say this, supply security is not equal to affordability directly, even though they have some hand in hand because of economies, demand and supply. Dangote refinery is in Nigeria. But let me tell you for a fact that the price of fuel increase in Nigeria is more than in Ghana. Where is the refinery? Supply security was not an issue, unlike other countries. But the increase was higher than we had in Ghana. So we should expect the reduction coming up from the next window, which is 1st of May, where for sure, plus this intervention that the government has made, I'm choosing my words right, with this intervention that the government has made, we're going to see fuel price coming down come 1st May. Yeah.
From the first pricing window of May?
Yes, further reduction.
Okay.
It's gone up.
As a result of this intervention, so further reduction, yes. I'll come to you, because you have to respond to that. Professor Jambo, just quick on this, we had to understand the considerations that went into this, the technical matters in terms of impact and who is taking a hit, so that we understand how the next 1 month will be. Because from what we understand per government communication, this is a first month intervention subject to review in the coming months as well. Now, getting this understanding and how this cushioning is taking some bedding of Ghanaians, how should the coming weeks at least look like, taking into consideration what is happening with the Strait of Hormuz now? Please, gentlemen.
We should continue to engage the technical people. I mean, Senior was here, has taken all the time, and he spoke for 1 hour.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Spoke for 1 hour. I'm an opinionated person, so I don't want to sit here and you give all the time to some other people, and I'm just like a spectator, like you did to me last 2 weeks. I don't like that. To give us even look at Martin Pebu now. He's reading graphic.
What? Yeah, but it's good.
It's okay. I mean, in the education, you see, you have sounded so technical, and I'm wondering how many Ghanaians understand what Senior and Doc have done.
You have
been up.
I have broken it down, pa. Hey. I gave you tax. I broke it down. And people have said to me, say, Prof, you were not listening because you were reacting to your abandonment.
MGO and so all those technical jargons.
I didn't mention MGO.
All right, so but I mean,
hold on.
I appreciate the education, but I think that going forward, if we want to do this, our technical people should learn to also calm down a little, find a way to make it broken down to people who are watching. But generally, in terms of governance, okay, I'm a governance person, so if we can be allowed to move away from the technicalities, I think that our President Mahama and this administration have been able to keep the economy of Ghana still resilient in spite of the global challenges. It's something that, in my view, should be of a worthy lesson note to those who want to govern Ghana. The essence of governance, I've always said, is to solve problems and not to grumble about problems. The essence of the generation of the Leviathan in Hobbesian sense.
You are not coming down. You see? Hobbesian sense. This which part of it is coming down?
Hold on.
Have you come down?
According to Thomas Hobbes, the reason why governments
He's still in the classroom.
the reason why governments were formed, okay, was to solve problems, and particularly the unforeseen ones. How you are able to devise strategies and interventions that addresses problems of people is crucial when given the mandate to govern. And I want to commend the President for showing leadership in navigating the country through these turbulent times. And I heard my brother saying that also it appears that even the opposition has been quite responsible during these turbulent times. And I've always argued that if we would all be able, it was Professor Kwe who used to use this analogy that if we are all playing football and somebody outside gets to the pitch and carries the ball away, regardless of the side to which we belong, we all would chase the person, bring the ball to the pitch before we all play. And so I believe in this kind of environment that helps government to navigate through problems. And so today, many who called for something to be done about the situation are happy. Yesterday, I heard labor unions commending the government, and I've heard some workers commending the government. I've heard so many people appreciating what the government has done. And I also want to note the sensible application of equity to addressing this problem by targeting diesel, reducing it more than even petrol, because a lot of activities and lives, revolve around diesel. We have learned that GPRTU today has decided that we are not going to increase transport costs and all that. I think this is good. If we know how to be together as a nation in navigating through crisis, then we'll be able to make giant strides in keeping our economies stable and in ensuring that we are governing the country well. The role of the opposition is not to oppose. In level 100, when I used to teach political institutions, that was one first question that I used to ask the student. The role of the opposition is to oppose, discuss. The opposition is supposed to do other things more than just opposing. And I'm thinking that this time around, in navigating through this problem, they call for government to do something about the margins.
Yes,
and government
seen a responsible opposition.
Okay, you know what?
Senior, but you are not telling me what to say.
Prof, yes.
But you see, around this table, we've all acknowledged that it's a good policy, but the OMC people are saying that some way, somehow, it imposes some hardships on them. Senior has
Which has been explained.
Senior has tried to explain, and I'm thinking that going forward, some of these whether we like it or not, somebody will suffer a little. And then there would also be some austerity that all of us may have to endure a little as we navigate through this crisis. And so I believe that, but in trying to impose austerity or in trying to navigate ourselves through some of these challenges, engagements and extensive consultations would also have to be deepened so that tomorrow you don't have people coming in to say that, well, it's a good policy, but at the same time, they get emotional about it because it may be affecting their cash flow and all that. So I think all in all, in terms of governance, we have shown that we are a people who can grant hope to people who elected us into office. And we have shown that the black man is capable of managing his own affairs because at one point in time, it so happens that when people are entrusted with fiduciary trust to run affairs and they face some of these challenges, it becomes difficult. But I think with the right kind of thinking, with the right kind of environment created, and with commitment and determination to serving, it's proven that we can remain resilient as a people, we can remain resilient as an economy and as a country, even in spite of challenges. So I want to applaud all, commend government, commend civil society, commend those people whose margins have been touched because of deferred payments. And but the fact that in spite of this, they are able to boldly come out to say that's a good policy, it's a good intervention. And I think that to the extent that Ghanaians are happy, to the extent that labor unions are happy, to the extent that even GPRTU has said that no, we are not going to increase transport costs, I think we have done well. We must commend ourselves.
I see. I've just received some notification, which we are still checking, that Iran has reimposed restrictions on the Strait of Hormuz. As this just came in some few minutes ago. So this is So just let me. Anyway, the Honorable John Dako, so before this announcement, the minority was asking that the 1 cedi levy be removed. You had reason to make that argument. Government has gone around it to touch other margins to even bring this cushioning beyond that 1 cedi that you were talking about. So that's the combined effect on a gallon for diesel. We understand it's about 9 Ghana cedis, and then petrol about 2 Ghana cedis at least for the first 2 weeks in this pricing window. Appreciate what you say?
All right. Thank you very much. You see, the NDC as a government started all this, and it's just interesting now. The tones of people have completely changed on this table. Yes, you are one of them. I'm not afraid to say that. So you asked me. So wait. You asked me. I was making my point. You came to ask me who are the people. You should have just allowed me to make my point without.
You be touching me like this. That's why.
Okay.
I just got the kufaru.
Using your hand to be touching me.
All right. Okay.
The tones have changed. It's amazing. No, but I think that is the politics that we've come to see in this country. The way the NDC in opposition behaved, they behave as if Ghana was an island and that nothing that happened outside the country affected us. That is how the NDC behaved. That's not true. To the extent that the then presidential candidate, now President Mahama, said that the distance between Ghana and Ukraine was about 7,000 miles or kilometers. And so the war didn't have any effect on us. Okay? That is the kind of people we are dealing with.
I beg you.
No, but what
There's an economic analysis here, so be careful how you touch that one.
Please, you've made your point. I don't want that.
Please.
I'm just saying, I'm here.
Your point.
Come on, Senor. You are not the only wise person on this table.
Have you said it?
No, so just switch it. So no, stop that. Don't tell me there's an economic person.
Okay,
Let me make my point.
Thank you. Let's
in spite of what is happening.
But you see, why are you people not tolerant at all? You want to make your point. I sat here quietly. Why are you not tolerant at all?
Make your point. Yes.
Be tolerant. In fact, you told them to be kind to me because this is my first time. And see what they are doing to me. You bet. So, so the kind of people we're dealing with. Now, the issue in Iran is about 9,000 kilometers away. And now you see the impact. Now you are asking Ghanaians to bear with you. Who imposed the 1 CDD levy in the first place? Was it not this government? Didn't the Minister for Energy come to Parliament to tell us that it's only sensible and wise government that could do that? The Minister for Energy, that's what he came to Parliament to tell us.
Are those his words?
Yes.
Those were not his words.
Those were his words. He said it's only a sensible government.
No, those were not his words.
Okay.
Innovative government.
No, my brother, I was sitting in Parliament.
Where are they?
So would you guys just let me talk?
Okay. So
Because when I finish, you can always make an intervention.
It's only an intelligent government. Those are, don't misquote him.
Hold on.
If you are quoting him, fine. But don't misquote him. Once you
is only an intelligent
there,
government.
the records are there.
And you see that the government wasn't intelligent after all.
It's a very intelligent government.
Because fuel prices went up.
No, wait.
If you want to
fuel prices went up. The government wasn't intelligent at all.
If you want
what do you mean
We
exactly?
realized that the government couldn't handle the problems in Iran. 9,000 miles away, we realized that the government couldn't handle it. The government wasn't intelligent. As the guy wanted us to believe.
If you say they couldn't handle it, what do you mean?
Meanwhile, exchange rate is 11.
Hold on. What do you mean? If you say that they couldn't handle it, what do you
Why
mean?
am I dealing with so intolerant?
Hold on.
I'm shocked. I sat here quiet.
If you sat here quiet. Hold on.
This is a very tolerant.
Listen. For example, make your point. What exactly do you mean by this was not handled intelligently? What do you mean?
But what, if it were, would we have gotten to where we are now? Prices wouldn't have gone up. They said that the prices were down because the economy was being handled by intelligent people. That's what the Minister for Energy came to tell us in Parliament. So if it goes up, what does it mean? Conversely, it means that the government is not intelligent. That's what it means. So the point here, for me, is that the fuel prices
It's not too bad.
they say that it's coming down. Well, hopefully we will see the intervention, the impact of the intervention, according to my friend Rivison, sometime in May.
Yes.
So in the next 2 weeks, Ghanaians are still suffering from high petrol prices. Within the same week, electricity prices have gone up.
Electricity prices?
Yes. Having to increase electricity prices.
It's been reduced.
Oh, my brother.
From first, no,
Let
please.
me make my point.
Oh, you said within the same window.
We are paying electricity. You probably don't pay electricity.
So I think the reference is to
let me make my point.
PURC's announcement
Yes.
in the first week of April about the reduction in utility prices. Hold on.
Let me make my point.
Hold on. I think that's been corrected. So yes.
Ghanaians are having to pay higher electricity bills, water bills are going up because for several reasons. This is a country where a president knows that his members are engaged in galamsey, destroying our water bodies, but doing nothing about it. That is the kind of system we are running. My friend here says that the essence of governance is to solve problems. Yes, we've seen a government, which is supervising teachers, who haven't been paid for well over 16 months. And I'm wondering how that is part of a solution. Teachers for 16 months haven't been paid. They are always picketing at the ministries. And you tell me the government is solving problems. This is the kind of government we have. And so for me...
Are we allowed to veer into other issues? I thought
he's coming back.
So for me, I think that what we are looking at, hopefully, because we all go to the pumps to buy fuel, hopefully in May, it will come down for all of us. But it tells you that when you are in opposition, you need to be very, very responsible. Now they can admit that we in the NPP in opposition are responsible. They were not responsible when they were in opposition, to the extent that when the word crisis, affected fuel prices, they put that on the government. All right? But we acknowledge, we admit that some of these foreign interventions can affect the price of fuel. But as it stands now, if they decide to remove the 1 CDD levy plus this intervention, I believe that the people of Ghana will be happy.
After all this, you still want the D levy to be
removed? When the 1 CDD levy was imposed, they justified it. And they said that even though they have put the 1 CD, petrol prices were still low. Now here we are. So it tells you that when you are in opposition, you have to be very careful and you have to be very responsible enough so that when you get to governance, you'll be able to put your position in opposition and your position in governance together. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of inconsistencies, as we've seen under this regime. Double tongue. Whatever they said in opposition, they are doing completely the opposite. And so for me, that's my initial reaction to this issue.
I see. So the interventions, you didn't touch on them. The cushioning. Now, the specific instance of the cushioning. The cushioning. This.
No, I didn't get it. Yeah.
The cushioning. This. Yes. Diesel down 2 CDs.
Yes.
Wait, please. Allow. No, please.
No, but that is going to be felt sometime in May, right?
And no, it's for this one, for this pricing window.
For this one?
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's good for everybody. It's good for everybody. I mean, like I said, I go to the pump, and so if I go and the fuel prices have come down, why not? I'll be happy. And we ask the government to reduce it so that the people of Ghana, can feel at least the burden can be lessened. And so that is okay. But my point here is that there are a lot more problems that this government is creating. Like I said, electricity prices, they are still high. That is a problem that government needs to resolve. I said that teachers are not being paid, nurses. Unemployment is so high. These are issues government, as he said, is put in power to resolve problems. And so if there are these problems and you are not resolving them, so tell me, when these fuel prices are down and the teacher hasn't been paid, how is the teacher supposed to even pay for transportation? That is the question you need to ask yourself. The young guy who is working in Mamubi or Agbogboshi or in my constituency in Swami, he doesn't have any job to do, even though you promised 133. How is this person going to benefit from this? Because he can't even get money to take transport to work because there's no work to be done. So you don't sit here and tell me that you've reduced petrol price by 30 pesos, right? Yes,
by diesel for 2.
No. So why don't you want to talk about the petrol? Because you keep referring to diesel, 2 CDs, 2 CDs. Refer to the petrol, which is 0.36 also.
That's 36 pesos. Yes, per liter. Yes. That's about 2 CDs per gallon.
36 pesos. And so the point is that for the young man in my constituency, this doesn't mean a lot. Doesn't mean anything because the person doesn't even have a job to do. He's looking for a job. That is what the government promised, and the government has failed to deliver.
Right. Mr. Roxon, that's something you wanted to respond to quickly. And that's to Mr. Roxon. No. Which one? Please.
No.
Mr. Roxon, please. No, you have to move on.
You can find a black sheep, and then you can find a white sheep. If you listen to the submissions of Honorable Apia Kubi, and then you listen to the submissions of our honorable member, my own learned friend, they are worlds apart.
What are you
a few things I will respond to. The first point he makes is that as a minority, they've called for an intervention. And I would have expected that he will comment on the intervention by government. Because if you are calling for an intervention of 1 CD, and in some cases you've seen 2 CDs, the only thing you can do is to at least commend government for the government's intervention and its impact. But he sought to be very political about the situation. As a government, personally, I don't want to go into doing the comparative analysis of what we saw 3 or 4 years ago and what we are seeing today. 3 or 4 years ago, nowhere the President Mahama said that the impacts of global markets will not, the global market factors will not have an impact on Ghana. What the government did, please let me finish. What the government of the President Akufo-Addo's government did was that they sought to blame everything on COVID, Russia, Ukraine, and then discounted their own effects of what they had done, which had caused the economy through reckless borrowing. That was what we kept talking about in those days, that because you had borrowed, the foundations of your economy were so bad that you had run into huge deficits, and that when the impacts came, it sank the economy. And so for 6 months, you had exchange rates move from about 6 Ghana to 17 Ghana cedis. That's not what we've seen here. As at today, the CD to dollar rate is still around 11. In fact, the government took it from almost 17, and today is around 11. Will you call such a government an irresponsible government? Or will you say that such a government has not done anything to ameliorate the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian? You cannot make that point. And so obviously you came here with your own set of questions, your own submissions, because what is there for us to discuss? You haven't even discussed it. He also makes an allegation that for electricity prices, they've gone up. That is false. You sought to correct him, and he still went on with the narrative. The PURC made the announcement that from 1st April, electricity prices are going to drop. And indeed, it has gone down. That is the highest reduction since 2018. Since 2018, this reduction in electricity price is the highest since 2018. And so for almost 8 years, if a government can come in within 15 months, can match what you did in 8 years, I think you should be asking yourself questions on your performance as a government. Those are the things you should focus on. For Ghana being an island, obviously we've discussed that, so I don't want to even spend my time on it. That the impact is real. As we are speaking, the government has intervened. The people of Ghana are happy with what we are seeing. GPRTU has made an announcement that they have rescinded the decision to increase fair prices. That is something that we must look at. On the points Senor made, that we should be throwing more light on the specific margins. I commend you for that, because I didn't want to spend the time on going into every single margin, but it's a good education for the people of Ghana. And
but you knew it.
No, going into the margins.
But you know it.
No, of course. But I've said here that the government's decision is based on taxes, levies, and margins. I've said that here on this table. Okay. What Senor did was to take a step further to educate us on specific margins and what they are meant for. My personal view, and this is not government, because I speak for the ministry and minister, let me be categorical, that when it comes to the analysis we did as a government, we looked at each margin, each levy, and then each tax. For the margins in particular, we looked at the history, what they've been, we looked at the history, the expenditure for those margins, and then the decisions were made. I can tell you on authority that everybody is taking a hit. Everybody is taking a hit. So it's not as if the margins are in excess and there's money to play around with. He sits on the UPPF fund, and he can confirm whether or not the expenditures, they have an overly, allowance that they can use. He can tell you. And so it's not the case that the margins were bloated and that this is the time that we are using this opportunity to reduce it. The government is taking a hit with the various reductions that it has done. And that is why it's a huge sacrifice. The government will now have to find. No, Senor.
I use the term bloated.
Yes.
I refer to it clearly for the optimal purpose, the primary purpose of the fund.
Yes.
Today, what percentage of that fund is used just for transportation? What percentage is used for other things other than actual transportation? So let's not go there. So don't say if you're giving reason to review. So but don't say it's not bloated or it's bloated. It becomes a policy conversation.
Yes, that's
I'm just guiding you.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, you have your last word. You have the last word.
Let me finish.
The revenue.
Let me finish.
In the coffers.
Yes, let me finish. No, let me finish.
Describe me well.
No, let me
I'll give
finish.
the last word to you.
No, let me finish. That we did the analysis together with NPA and the government. Cabinet did the analysis as well. And I can tell you that if you look at the expenditure for their core mandate,
Whether you are looking at BOST, whether you are looking at UPPF, whether you're looking at PDM, and whatever they do. When it comes, some of the margins, they even need more money. Some of these margins, they will even need more money. And so the point about it being shelved off and then maybe it's a good time to take them off completely, I disagree.
No, that's not what, having said that, the only one I've said hasn't got proper policy standing right now is the BOST margin.
Let me finish.
That's the only one.
Yes.
I think that BOST provides some services. So let's not get too technical here.
In fact,
and
this
you are coming to the wrong point.
We can expand
I'll
it
come.
further.
No.
No, that's not the subject matter.
No, that's not
Round
the
it up for me,
subject. But
because we
Senor
need to move on.
yes,
quickly.
Senor spent considerable amount of time on this, and that's why it's important that you clarify.
Not even the boss margin. I don't think
No, it's not the boss. I'm talking about the margins
Okay.
as a whole.
Right.
I'm not talking about it. For boss margin, as I said, that is my personal opinion. If you look at what a boss core mandate is, and what the plan is, and what they're supposed to do, yes, we have private sector owning tanks. But how many of these private sectors do the transportation when it comes to pipelines or have tanks in the north?
Every service is paid for.
No,
Again,
no.
I repeat, Roxy, don't go into a debate you can't win.
No.
So I'm just saying that, please, because maybe you don't understand.
No, you can't say that.
Please, you don't understand.
I've been in industry for years.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
Not necessarily. I'm younger than that.
You know that.
I'm saying, don't do that. Don't go into the policy conversation.
No, that is policy.
You were
that's your
ending.
opinion.
It's not opinion matter. I'm asking you. Are saying this is are they paid for or not?
That's your opinion.
Are they paid for or not?
Microphones are off.
Why are we doing that?
Unless
relax.
Roxy, you were going fine. Don't lose your steam.
Yes, let me
quickly.
Out of order.
let me. And so that's when it comes. Yes, now I'll round up.
You're in a minute.
No, I'll give you.
The PDM pays for the transportation coordinated by bus.
You don't have
the
one.
PDM pays for the pipeline pushed by bus.
Yes.
So what are we talking
So when it
again?
comes to the infrastructure of bus and their core,
Every single one is paid
it's
for.
Not, it's not.
What is not paid for?
Senor, I don't want to get into this
No,
debate.
what is not paid for? No, tell the public.
I don't want to go into this debate.
No, tell the public now what is not paid for.
This debate will not end. So
Let me
What is not paid for?
what you have
You are
left.
wrong. And you don't-
Agreed.
Yes.
That you think I'm wrong. Tell us where I'm wrong.
Senor,
gentlemen.
No, tell the public because you're educating the public. Now don't do politics.
So I give him the last word.
What is it that is not paid
Let me come
for?
back to what you're saying.
Thank you.
The points I'm making, the most important point here is that intervention is necessary. The government will keep monitoring as directed by His Excellency the President.
Okay.
The ministers of finance and then energy should monitor, and that after 4 weeks you're going to review the policy. There is a bigger work plan that the government is working with, and so it won't just start with what has happened now. If after 4 weeks the situation has normalized, of course, government will take certain decisions. If it has worsened, government will roll out the next phase of the intervention that it has agreed. And then if prices have gone down, as we begin to see, of course, the people of Ghana will be the bigger beneficiaries of it. And so be rest assured that the president is a listening president. The president cares about people. He will pay attention to what's going on and ensure that all material times, the decisions that we made will have the people of Ghana at its center.
Thank you. He has exhausted his time. No, he has exhausted his time.
When did you get in the space of policy? Don't do that. I say tell the public, the margin you are saying is not paid for.
You are not on air.
Okay. Okay. So let's do.
No, gentlemen. I need to move on to the next issue, please. No, Lawyer Matt, please.
It's 9 o'clock. Let's
move on. Yes. No. Please make your point.
All right. So, so basically, look, what I would say is to agree with a lot of the submissions that have been made earlier, to the extent that, well, the reduction at least is some relief, though we wish it would have been more, right? Yeah, because if you look at it from last year until the U.S. Israel-Iran war, it was cheaper. So basically, anything that will make fuel cheaper is what we want, right? So yes, this is welcome, but perhaps government should look at the situation again, look at it, continue to improve. You see, like we are Oliver. Oliver is always asking for more. Oliver Twist, right? So that it will make the living conditions better. Because truth be told, the cost of living crisis is still with us. Yeah, it's not only Ghana. Other parts of the world, they are also experiencing the cost of living crisis. So you want petrol to go down. You want all the other fuels to go down to the prices before the conflict, so that that would also push traders to reduce their prices, so that basically we will be better off, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's sufficient for
Lord Matibebo, thank you very much for this. Truly appreciate it. Now, that will lead us to our next issue. Unfortunately, I don't have the time for it. Dr. Riverson, yes, please. Please.
So,
yes.
I think
he's
also about
he's going to take leave of us. So,
yes. So that the politicians can take over the next case.
I'm not a politician.
No, me, I'll leave you.
But I'm not a politician.
Then let's go together.
Dr. Riverson, your time is running.
Yeah, so I think I sit here going back home or to lecture today, very excited with the final word of Roxanne, that everyone is hit, not the government alone is hit. That was the whole conversation today. It's on record, though. You said it. Yes, it came.
Everyone is taking a hit.
Yes, you said it. It came out.
Are you taking a hit?
Yes, you're taking a hit. And Senor, am I lying to say that the negative 63 on the UPPF?
They are not lying.
It means that we need to pre-finance.
Yeah, but again, I'm saying that it doesn't mean that it will be paid for.
Yeah.
So you have a policy case.
But the point is, it's not personal issues.
Don't do that. You should identify with their pain, and I'll give them assurance. Don't throw it as a personal issue.
So you know what? You are not on the floor. Your microphone is off.
Yes.
Your microphone is off. I am ending this matter.
You work with them.
Clearly, I don't intend to settle those concerns that you have here.
Okay, sure.
So end your submission.
If I put myself in the government's shoe and I thank him, I don't understand why Rossi cannot put himself in our shoes to know that the thing is not operational hit, it's financial risk. Because one needs to borrow money to expend and later get paid. All that we are asking MPA, and let's also give honor to MPA, credit to MPA, they assured us that they'll do their best, like you said, to pay us on time.
I said it's operational.
Okay.
It's not, it's financial.
Don't call it operational. I think all the PSPs asking for is assurance from you. So just give him assurance and let him go. Don't make semantics the issue. He wants to hear assurance that you want to make him pay.
3FM 92.7. Also on TV3 Ghana, on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world. Look, gentlemen, your microphones are off. Richmond Roxanne. Thank you. And we're also live on a number of radio stations across the country. As I indicated to you, the key point is proudly brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and also GASEM, the nation builder. Let me tell you the good news that we have from the University of the Gold Coast, and that will lead us to our next issue for the morning. Whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, gentlemen, in communication, and then also a specialist MBA in operations and supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship and innovation, or business intelligence and analytics, or you want to advance through our dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University of the Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in international relations, communications, and international marketing, international law, security and diplomacy, accounting and finance, or human resource management, an LLM in international law, security and diplomacy, or an MA in biblical studies and practical theology, the pathway is open. Admission for April is now open. Apply today. I'm talking about the University of the Gold Coast, because at the University of the Gold Coast, we make it practical, flexible learning environment. Your dream deserves structure. Your future deserves strategy. Your purpose deserves training. Call them on these two numbers and tell them that I asked that you call them. They will give you a special package. 054-288-9045. 054-288-9045 or 026-388-8555. 026-388-8555. That is 026-388-8555 for some more updates, and that is for the University of the Gold Coast. Keep that in mind, give them a call, and also let them give you a lot more than what you even imagine. Now, we're going to the next issue for this morning, and that is with the High Court ruling earlier this week that has generated some concern. In fact, the two major references this morning is with regards to Article 88 and then subsection 2 of Section 4 of the OSP Act. Gentlemen, now this is it. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be a Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of a legal nature as may be referred or assigned to him by the President or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. Also, the Attorney General shall be responsible for the initiation and conduct of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. The emphasis is on 88.4, which is all offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. This is what the law that sets up the Office of the Special Prosecutor also says. Section 4, subsection 2 of Act 959 says, subject to clause 4, which I just read, of Article 88 of the Constitution, the Office of Special Prosecutor shall, for the purposes of this Act, be authorized by the Attorney General to initiate and conduct the prosecution of corruption and corruption-related offenses. Now, this week, the General Jurisdiction Division 10 of the High Court here in Accra ordered that the Attorney General should take over all prosecutions by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Immediately take over all the criminal prosecutions currently being handled by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, pending formal authorization from the Attorney General's office, and that's why I read this too. It puts these matters in context. In this ruling this week, which has become a matter of contention, the court also declared all ongoing prosecutions initiated by the OSP null and void, effectively halting multiple cases across various courts. Now, the issue that has come to the fore is whether the High Court overreached its powers in making these orders. In fact, when we got the full details of the ruling, that matter was addressed by the trial judge in it, which I'll show to you. And then also whether indeed the special prosecutor really does need to go for authorization on every case from the Attorney General. There are two schools of thought on this matter. The Attorney General himself, the Deputy Attorney General himself, has been responding to this, including whether there's a tough war that has led to all of this. Dr. Justice Adam Shremsai spoke to my colleague exclusively, Eric Mawana-Egbeta, yesterday. Ahead of today, he was to join us this morning, but something came up, so we had to go speak to him to state his position. I want us to take a listen to Dr. Justice Adam Shremsai on the Attorney General's position on this matter, because the day after this ruling by the High Court, he put on his Facebook page that the Attorney General's office is already taking steps to take over the cases that the OSP is prosecuting as per the directives or the decision of the High Court. So why did he even say this in the first place? There are those who are asking how he can actually then overstep or take away that option of rather giving the OSP the authorization to continue the prosecution of these cases rather than taking it over, as was earlier stated by him. This is what he had to say. Take a look.
There's been instances where the agencies, other state agencies, law enforcement agencies that we give fiat to prosecute cases have been questioned. I remember one was on SEPS. You know, Custom Excise and Preventive Service.
Giving them a fiat to be able to prosecute.
Yes, so that was, they used to be called SEPs, now they are part of GRA. At the time they were SEPs, they had a fiat to prosecute. But when the legislative review came and they became part of GRA, GRA is now a new legal entity. They were prosecuting someone who said that they didn't have a fiat. They were trying to say that they had a fiat when they were SEPs or something. But now they don't have it. The courts decided in that case that since you don't have the fiat, you couldn't, Recently there was a couple of cases like that. So this is just a normal thing that happens if you are, of course, if you are being prosecuted and you have any doubt as to who the authority of the person prosecuting you, I think you are entitled to, as it were, challenge it. And that's what the person did. We were not aware of this case. That's the Office of the Attorney General. Personally, I don't even know this accused person. This file has never come to our office. We, just like everyone else, got to know of the decision that the court has ordered that we should go and take over the cases on grounds that the OSP was not able to show that they have authorization from the Attorney General, contrary to their own act. So the case that happened in the High Court had nothing to do with constitutional interpretation. Because the act, I don't know if you have looked at the act, but the act specifically says that
the objects right in front of you.
Yeah, subject to Article 88, the OSP will prosecute based on the authorization of the Attorney General. That's what the legislation says. So the person is saying that if you are prosecuting me, then you should show your authority note upon which you are prosecuting. That the OSP was not able to show. So the court...
Right, to the extent that a similar matter is currently before the Supreme Court, and in a criminal jurisdiction of the High Court, that judge had stayed their hand, deferring on to the Supreme Court to make a decision. Many will say that general jurisdiction could have stayed its hand as well. Yes, that doesn't fall within your remit, but
yes,
in terms of what played out.
In terms of what, I don't have the full record, but what I know is that the mere pendency of a similar matter in the Supreme Court does not operate as a stay to any court that is deciding. It is good if the court is aware, or it has been brought to the court's attention, and the judge decides that, well, I will wait. That is fine. Even if a judge knows and decides that I won't wait, I will make my decision, it doesn't invalidate the decision itself. Yet you may question the judge's discretion as to whether to wait or not, especially when I have no evidence that it was brought to the judge's attention and he was prayed to stay. But be that as it may, like I said, we were not parties to the case, so we didn't know what happened. The decision has been made, and we have been asked to order to do certain things. So we just have to do it. Why would someone interpret this as we are in a hurry to take over the cases of the special prosecutor?
In reading the orders of the High Court, which has now become the subject of the conversation, yes, he ordered that the AG takes over the cases pending authorization to the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Precisely.
Many will say that should be of concern to the Attorney General, given that authorization for that matter to proceed.
It is
instead of.
It is of concern to us.
The decision to want to openly come out and state that, okay, we're taking over, and no mention at all as to
no. What I put out yesterday did not say that we are taking over cases.
In the coming days. I
said we'll take steps to give effect to the decision of the court, right? So, like you said, we should be concerned because as far as we know, all prosecutions in the country is being done in our name. So if we are there and the court says that there is this number of cases because the OSP doesn't have power to prosecute and is prosecuting, we should take over. Do you want us to spend 1 month thinking about what to do, or you'll be interested? Like you said, we should be concerned. And my understanding of concern means that we should do something to remedy the situation. That is what we are going to do. So why would someone interpret that to mean we are in a hurry to take over the cases? So the point I'm trying to make is that I appreciate I won't call it propaganda, the misinformation out there. Because yesterday I was speaking with someone who said, it was actually a radio, presentation. Somebody said the AG went to court to ask that the OSP be sacked, which, first of all, we didn't go to court. We were not even aware of this case. So
we'll come to the aspect of conversation surrounding whether or not this is a grand scheme of some sort, particularly in relation to the matter before the Supreme Court.
Well, that's Dr. Justice Edem Sremsai there, Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice. So he says they are only going on this path to correct a situation with respect to the law that sets up the Office of the Special Prosecutor in itself. Edem Senanu is the co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption and also the chair of the African Union Advisory Board on Corruption. Thank you, Mr. Senanu. Thank you for joining us this morning. But you see, there is a foundational problem here. Gentlemen, wait. There was an objective, and the reason why the Office of the Special Prosecutor was set up in the first place, to deal with that challenge, for the lack of better expression, of Attorney General prosecuting cases that involved persons that were politically connected or politically exposed or within the party of the serving Attorney General. That was the thinking. Yeah. There was some conversation that preceded the establishment of the office. And as to whether the law that establishes the office is what has created this problem as we are dealing with now. It's another matter that we want to get into. But I recall that the political parties platform, which Professor Jampo was part of, the leading members at the time, were the ones who were doing this engagement for the office, for a separate office to be set up to deal with certain cases that the Attorney General, because of the political nature of it, cannot deal with. Was it the outcome that you were asking for? Prof, quickly.
Well, thank you very much. Way back in 2008, I recall the Ghana Political Parties program that then had representation of all the political parties that had seats in Parliament, had commissioned a study led by one Professor Reginald Austin and Professor Kofi Kumado to audit the gaps in Ghana's democracy. That study culminated in a certain paper that was also referred to another committee comprising people like Professor Kwame Ahoy, Professor Yauchumesi, Dr. Ahaji. In their further study of trying to audit the gaps in Ghana's democracy, generated a paper called Democracy Consolidation Strategy Paper that generally argued that even though Ghana's 1992 constitution had served us well, nevertheless it contained provisions that were hindering the maturation of our democratization process. So they identified the gaps and made recommendations for constitutional review with a view to addressing the gaps. Now, one of the challenges that they identified in their audit of Ghana's democracy was about the fact that we have an Attorney General who is also the Minister of Justice. And they had argued that in the fight against corruption, it is oftentimes difficult for a certain Attorney General to be dealing or prosecuting his own other colleagues who are serving within the same government with him. And so the recommendation that was made then was the need for us to separate the Attorney General from the Ministry of Justice and then create an office that they were referring to as independent public prosecutor. An independent public prosecutor. In fact, if you read the Democracy Consolidation Strategy document that whose recommendations were bought into by Professor Mills and culminated in the Constitution review. That was the recommendation that was made. You need to separate the Attorney General's office from the Ministry of Justice and then create an independent public prosecutor, not special prosecutor, independent public prosecutor. People had their own fears about it, that if you don't take care, this guy would also be prosecuting all your appointees and all that. But then that was the recommendation. Soon after President Akufo-Addo became president, I think he was also privy to this conversation. But he was aware that in trying to separate the the Attorney General's office from the Ministry of Justice, and in trying to touch the prosecutorial powers of the Attorney General, it was going to require a certain constitutional amendment, and that particular Article 88 of the Constitution is actually an entrenched clause. So I think the easiest way out that he resorted to was to create the special prosecutor. And when this was done, some of us had issues with it. I mean, right from the word go, because we were juxtaposing the special prosecutor that had been created, its functions, with the provision in Article 88 that vests the prosecutorial powers of the state in the Attorney General. And so right from the word go, we knew that there were going to be problems. But, you know, Ghanaians were also tired of corruption. And so once you had a special prosecutor set up, and particularly what excited people in not delving or thinking deep into the problems that could arise was the appointment of the person in the persona of citizen vigilante. So people applauded it that, well, I mean, with this man, no nonsense person is going to do the job. So that sort of blindfolded people into looking at the potential conflict that could emerge. And so Amidu left, Kisi came, and it's been on and on. I mean, I quite remember one day I was arguing that the special prosecutor was going to have problems because he was going to be working in the shadows of Attorney General. And somebody drew my attention to the fact that, look, their act says that even though they are going to be drawing their prosecutorial powers from the Attorney General, they nevertheless are expected to operate, you know, in an independent manner. And I kept asking myself that, how do you draw your prosecutorial powers from AG and still be independent of the AG? And today, somebody has gone to court and he's gotten a judge to give a certain judgment.
Also, when the AG could even enter only prosecutor, even through your prosecution.
That is it. So somebody has gone to court and gotten a certain judgment, and I think now we are all awakened to the realities the realities of the conflict that right from the word go was created by the passage or by the setting up of the office of the special prosecutor. Look, this matter, if you don't handle it well, if you don't talk about it well, then you are seen as somebody who is now developing a cold feet against, in the fight against corruption. But the point is that reality is setting in. We are all tired of corruption. We want corruption to be confronted head on. But at the same time, we must also not blindfold or be oblivious of the legal contradictions and the realities that confront us. So an individual has gone to court, and this is a ruling.
Okay.
Are we now going to look at the court and tell them that they are wrong without seeking a review? So I think that, look, what has happened has generated a lot of public discourse on this. Anti-corruption crusaders, some of them are looking at things dispassionately. I can see some of them are also being emotional. That, no, I mean, why are you touching the special prosecutor? But I'm saying that we cannot confront corruption without looking critically about some of these legal contradictions that exist. Because if we blindfold ourselves to the realities, then we may be going a certain tangent Somebody gets to the court, and then he throws sand into our gari, and then we are all disappointed. So I think that the
consequences.
The time has now come for us to all sit and look at things dispassionately.
Okay.
Whether we want the office of the special prosecutor to operate in the environment of this legal contradiction, it's up to us to decide. The office of special prosecutor, in my view, has got the option of either going to the AG and getting whatever authorization so that he can continue his case. He also has the option to go to court to seek a review. But ultimately, it is important for us to appreciate the fact that you cannot allow this kind of contradiction to exist, particularly when we have not done anything about the prosecutor, about amending the prosecutorial powers, of the AG in a manner that gives it high set off to the special court. If we've not done that, then anybody can go to court, and once they get this kind of judgment, then you can't blame anybody. So the point is that we must be open about this, be dispassionate about it, and see how we can navigate, this particular situation in a manner that will not make us look like we don't want to fight corruption, in a manner that will not also make us look like we are seeing problems in terms of conflict of laws, and we want to pretend that because we want to focus on a particular tangent, that conflict should
on the matter of the authorization, Dr. Edem Shrem stated in that interview that according to him, said the OSP is not interested in coming to him for the authorization because the special prosecutor says that office is independent. That's according to Shrem's side.
Well, but I don't know what the lawyers here say, but I think that to the extent that nothing, if nothing bars the special prosecutor from going to the Attorney General to seek clearance to be able to prosecute, then I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that. It appears also that reading in between the lines, I think there's been some theft wars, but whatever is happening, the point must be made that the prosecutorial powers that are given to the Attorney General are quite entrenched, and you cannot just push it aside and pretend it doesn't.
That's why I started this conversation with the details of those two provisions, Article 88 and Section 4.2 of the OSP Act. You want to say something quickly?
So I respectfully, Prof, your statement that reality is now settling in, I think is far from the truth. I'd like to take you back to the Hansard of November 1st, 2017. And I want to point out to you that these issues were thoroughly debated. Ghanaians are not now waking up and finding that all of a sudden the wording of the Constitution is this and LI 2374 and we are hitting our heads. Not at all. So let me read a bit of the Hansard for you. And I would like to appeal to Ghanaians to spend time, go to history so that we don't seem to be reinventing the wheel all the time. Mm-hmm. Now, the debate regarding the authorization of the OSP as it had folded was as such. Mr. Banda, who was a proposer of an amendment to the Article 88 that we are looking at, he moved an amendment to insert the phrase that the OSP shall be authorized by the Attorney General. His rationale, his goal was to strictly tether the newly created Office of the Special Prosecutor to Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution, which vests all prosecutorial powers in the Republic in the Attorney General. Then Dr. Dominic Aine, the pragmatist, what was his position? He supported the concept of authorization, but vigorously demanded that the method of authorization should be explicitly defined and structured. His rationale, he argued that since Parliament was using a statute to compel the AG to delegate authority to the OSP, there had to be a clear mode of delegation. He explicitly suggested using a constitutional instrument or a legislative instrument to spell out the jurisdiction, ensuring that the OSP will not be left in an administrative limbo. Then Prof. Mike Okwe, the speaker at the time, an independent purist. His position, he pushed back. He said that the entire concept of the OSP needs an explicit warrant or authorization from the AG to do his job. His rationale, he believed that an act of parliament creating the office was authority enough. He delivered a prophetic warning that demanding ongoing or secondary authorization from the AG would open an unnecessary Pandora's box of quo-ranto legal challenges demanding to know by what authority the OSP acts, whereby paralyzing the anti-corruption fight. Which position won? There was a structural compromise won. Parliament could not ignore Mr. Banda, and so the legal requirement for the AG's authorization was kept in the Act. However, to prevent the exact paralysis the Speaker warned about, Parliament adopted Dr. Ine's solution. They created a framework for structural delegation rather than requiring case-by-case permission slips.
Is that from the Hansard? You are interspersing with comments. Read the Hansard, they know.
Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point.
Get serious.
So the OSP eventually, and so I'm trying to say that to suggest that this is new.
Okay.
Read the Hansard.
But I think it's instructive that you reference that a member of parliament also raised the possibility of what we're even seeing now.
Absolutely.
With the quo-ranto application that has resulted
in saying something different. Yes, I'm saying we are all forgetting the history. Let's go back to the Hansard and see that this issue was dealt with. It is not that we suddenly woke up and then we are surprised. No. The issue came up, it was debated, and they agreed on a certain compromise. That compromise is what is reflected in LI 2374. So even if we are having this discussion now,
LI? But the LI is
but just for the at least specifically, and this point was made. Hold on. I want to hear one person. Listen.
No, the constitutional provision.
Hold on. This particular LI was referenced in the course of the engagement, and the compromise, so-called, that was captured in
absolutely.
There. Because of Article 11 and the sources of law and the hierarchy of the laws, the question as to whether the LI supersedes the constitutional provision is one that also then. So then, how do you reconcile this position?
The Constitution says delegated by law. Do we have a law? We do. Act 959. Does that law empower the OSP to do what it's doing? Yes. Has it been repealed? No. Does it talk about investigation and prosecution? Yes. So unless we are saying that the Act 959 does not satisfy what is required by Article 88.
Exactly.
No, but that's not the case. It does satisfy.
It doesn't. Okay. If the government have ruled that way, that's what the problem is.
But that's an issue of interpretation.
Only interpretation.
It's an issue of interpretation.
Thank you. On this, and we're making progress from the path that we are on. And this is why I bring in, gentlemen, hold on. This is why I bring Loyamatic people on this, because of the point that you just made about whether or not 959 actually cures this
88.4
that we're talking about. This is what 88.4 says. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him, in accordance with any law.
Yeah.
That is what 88.4 says.
Yeah.
And then I'll get to 44.2, section 4.2 in a bit, just to give us an idea of how. But does it really cure this?
Oh, it doesn't at all. Far from it. Can Abdallah do this? The Kiseja being taped when he went to Parliament for the verdict. Can we play it? He himself said the thing had not been well done. Kiseja being, please play the tape. If Abdallah doesn't have it, he himself said the thing had not been well done. Take time. He himself said that it had not been well done. Listen, I agree with what Prof is saying. You see, the truth of the matter is that, look, cut to the chase. 88 cannot be amended through an act of parliament.
No.
But what happened was that corruption was killing us.
Yes.
So somehow we agreed that, look,
drowning.
It was a political settlement. Thank you that there's a political science professor here. This is what we call a political settlement. It's not that tidy, but at the time there was consensus that, look, let's do it this way, because we knew that getting constitutional amendment. Look,
It was entrenched. You need a referendum.
Over a year, you will not get it.
Yes.
And you know, people's patience was running out. So it became like we just decided, like what we say, and they say, pass the law this way, let's go. We,
having Martin Amidu in mind.
Excellent. So the moment Martin Amidu was given the position, was like Agbena, yes, the angel. But we didn't know that beyond Martin Amidu, you bring people who have issues with conflict of interest. That is where, look, all these things, all these problems we're experiencing is because Kisieja being worked for Furiata, has a relationship with Furiata, and allowed Furiata to abscond. And other cases that he's spoiled, other cases abuse, arresting professors, arresting people.
This is what
abuse.
This is
Oh, me, but I said me my own. It's because it's not corruption related. This is not corruption related.
Thank you. This is what 4.2 says. Subject to clause 4 of Article 88, which I read. The office shall, for the purpose of this act, be authorized by the Attorney General to initiate and conduct the prosecution of corruption and corruption-related offences. And you say this compromise that was in, how does it?
Back to 88.4, he still hasn't explained why he says Act 9 does not satisfy 88.4.
Yes.
Okay.
So he needs to do that
yes.
clearly.
Okay. So clearly, let's do this. And in the meantime, as I said, let Abdallah also produce this.
Well, that will be pulled out.
Now let's take our time. Let's take our time.
President, you know, it's not about Kisi. We are looking at the institution.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. By he himself. So it tells you that lawyers. No. It's very important. The office, the occupant himself says, "Hey, there are issues."
Kisi too could be wrong.
You are misquoting.
Kisi too could be wrong.
And you are in fact misquoting.
I want you to educate us.
Yes.
I want you to educate us.
Let's go. Let's go
focus on the Constitution.
Look, let's go to 88. Okay. What the article says is that the power can be delegated. We agree. Currently, as we speak, it's been delegated to police. It's been delegated to GRA, SNET, Forestry Commission, electricity. Yeah, I mentioned police first. Many. So let's just say it's countless, right? But for these persons, what happens is that apart from their acts, there's what we call an executive instrument. You see, there's an executive instrument. So you hear EI5, etc. They are all listed in the judgment of Justice Eugene Nyante. So it says, listen, all these people, they go, there is a fiat, one-time document, or some say fiat, it's an EI, whichever, even if you call it a letter, is fine. But what the point is that there is another document, apart from the GRA Act, you see that there is another document that is given to GRA that go to court. Apart from the electricity laws, there is another document that is given to them. So what we are short of here is that after the OSP Act, that other document that we call fiat or you call it EI, the special prosecutor did not seek from the Attorney General. And what Senator read was, whilst they were in Parliament, they were looking at how to even avoid it altogether. But where you forget is that Parliament has no power to avoid it altogether. The power doesn't belong to Parliament. It says the Attorney General who can delegate. So Parliament cannot pull it out of him. And if you like, as I said, for me, I've not taken what an entrenched position. It's a debate. So if you like, I'm just speaking honestly.
Right.
If you like, you can say that. Gloria Kufu by initiating, being part of the bill, etc., is deemed to have agreed, consented, no problem. But then, after Gloria Kufu exited, long story short, today, Ayeni is in the saddle. In constitutional law, there's that principle that the executive acts of a previous government don't bind a successive government. There is a case in constitutional law, I think it's called the Ampita, basic constitutional law. Your executive decisions don't bind your successor. So when your successor comes, he looks at it, he doesn't like him. So I agree. You can say for Gloria Kufu's time, and for that matter, the whole of the MPP government, if any Attorney General try to go back, they will say, but it's your own government, so you agreed. But this is a different government, right? Ayeni would not be taken to have been bound by Gloria Kufu. No. He cannot. So anytime you mention this authorization thing, it's that's how come when Trump took office, first day in office, he revoked a lot of the Biden things through executive instruments. Yeah. through executive things. Trump reversed the renewable energies things, many things.
But we haven't seen a reversal from the government.
So now Ayini's statement, very good.
That's the point. Because he's talking about Article 30, Section 56. Those are executive instruments. Ministers and presidents can revoke.
Yes.
But the reason why Gloria went for an airline is, and especially what he's talking about, because with an airline you have to go back to Parliament. That's a much more comprehensive, extensive approach. So she was intentional. You can't just say because one president came and left, which is what will happen with an EI. So the LI is still subsists.
But the thing is that
so what you're saying is actually in contradiction to the fact.
No, Senator, that's not how we analyze it.
No, come on.
Wait.
We are going to Article 30.
Okay, no, it's not Article 30 section.
It forces you can delegate by law.
I referenced 884.
At the end of the day, you always get it. No way, Senator. It's tricky when you want to move back. You want to do another. It's not even called Article 30.
The law is not for lawyers alone. Yeah, and you taught me that one. You are the one who knows.
But when you
I will face you with
carpenters not too long ago.
That one.
Please, let's not go down that road. Hold on. Let's not go down that road. LI is a substantive way of going about this. Don't talk about EIs when you have Act 95. Hold on.
I asked a specific question, so conclude.
So let me go. You see, so the thing is that the Constitution is the higher authority. The LI cannot do the constitutional provision. The constitutional provision says the Attorney General may prosecute or he may delegate. That LI cannot undo the constitutional provision, and that's what Justice Eugene Nyante is saying. It cannot. So that's why I called it a political settlement. At the time, we're all happy with it, but we always knew that this day would come. It was a political, well, leave it, me, I don't mind, right? So, Serrano, let's get this. It's all not, as for the office, let's be very clear. As for that office, I want it to remain. Look, let's be very clear. I want that office to remain. My only challenge is that Kisejabin currently has too many things. No, we haven't finished. We are doing the analysis. Let's take our time.
I asked a specific question.
So we are analyzing last leg.
No.
Because of the internet.
So he's still not able to explain it.
No, it's not for you to decide. We already read. Okay, I'll read it for emphasis. And then let's go to what he was referring to, please. He kept saying Article 30. There's nothing like Article 30. What he's referring to is the Act 30. The Criminal and Other Offences Procedure Act.
That is what allows for EIs.
Section 56 says that the Attorney General can give EIs, etc. Now let's stay here. But when you stay with the constitutional provision, which is amplified by the Act 30, what you get is this. That, so 88 for which you put in there. All offences prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. So when you say authorized, so simple, I'm coming. Simple question. Just make it simple. Has Ayine authorized OSP? He says he's not. And I'm telling you that the LI you are mentioning,
Constitution does not say Ayine should authorize. Constitution says that AG.
Yes.
And the AG has done that.
The office has.
Act 959.
No, that's not how it's done. So it means
who says that's not how it's done?
Hold on.
Who says that's not how it's done?
I say so because I'm treated in the law. You don't understand even the basics. You've been given a script to come and read. You don't understand the basics.
Hold on.
Where's the script? You've been given a script to come and read. I will show people you receive.
Let's get into the personal side.
Open your phone and I will show you.
Just explain it. Delegated by law.
And Ayine is saying that any other person.
Is there a law?
No. He said they didn't say law. Says in accordance. No, he didn't say
exactly.
No, thank you. The two are different. The two are different.
It's not as a person in the Constitution.
Okay, General, you know what?
Yes. You may have your personal interest to protect it, but want to do legally. And I'm correcting you that they didn't say. They didn't say.
Let me say something. Please, I asked a question. let him conclude.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll move on.
Now lawyers
Let's-
want to take
hold
over
on.
and do detailed interpretation.
Make your point, please.
Well, we'll see.
But the law is not only for lawyers.
Yes, we allow you to speak, but when you get too technical, we say stop.
No, not necessarily. It doesn't make lawyers right all the time. That one. And again, you are the one who taught me this.
Yes.
I'm just telling
But
you.
when it gets too slippery, we say stop. You see?
Okay.
So let's come to where you're saying. It says that stop. It says any other person authorized by him in accordance, in accordance with any law. And the Act 30 is an example of any law. When you go to the Act 30, he uses a fiat and gives you that other paper. Remember, I'm saying that, look, all these things we are saying there, the Supreme Court can come and say that, listen, they are going with the act. And they can, you can't fault them because that's what they think. Another person can look at it and say, no, once he doesn't see the fiat, that's or call it the EI, it is wrong. So for me, I'm not taking an entrenched position. I'm just telling you that it's not a one-size-fits-all. No, there are different positions. It depends on who has the authority. It all depends.
So there might be a solution.
So, and we're saying that. So, yes, let the Supreme Court decide. I'm not, but the forceful point I want to make is that we are where we are today because on the ground, there's a groundswell, of opposition against Kissi Ejaben because of the bad governance, because of the things that are going on. No, let's make, otherwise we will not understand what
we were actually, we're having a progressive conversation. We'll get there. I only asked specific questions about this issue
so
of what the position of the law is.
So it means that and he's not the one who took that law to Parliament. So Ayini say it's not bound. And in constitutional law, there is that thing. So at any point, so let's make this final point. You see prosecutors prosecuting from the police, the forestry, snake, etc. Today, Ayini can revoke those executive instruments.
Yes.
Today. So why? So if Ayini can revoke, excellent. So how can Ayini be allowed to revoke the instrument by police?
But how do we?
And then as for OSP, he cannot.
Thank you.
General, not Ayini.
Very good. So the final argument, let's get this clear. If we follow what Senanu is saying, we'll come to a conclusion that today, Ayini can recall the executive instrument. Attorney General can recall the executive instrument given to police, SNATE, GRA, for all of them.
And but when legislative instruments can be...
yes. But when it comes to OSP, they are saying that when it comes to OSP, that one, the Ayini has no say. Then you are
I don't think that is it. Thank you very
I'm telling
much.
you the conclusion.
Now that is me. John, see, whatever you have said, I'm taking it out of your time because you keep coming in. Yes, I'm just not, and Senor as well. So you just hold your peace until I come.
I can be quiet all day.
I'll come to. Hold on, gentlemen. This is what the trial judge said, and this is what has actually been another matter of contention. Since by clause 3 of Article 88 of the Constitution, and this is called out of the ruling, the full details of the ruling, all of us have a copy of it, so we'll run through it. The Attorney General is responsible for the initiation and conduct of prosecution of all criminal offenses in Ghana. I hereby order the Attorney General to take over all prosecutions currently being handled by the respondent, that's the Office of Special Prosecutor, in the various courts, pending the submission of its application to the Attorney General for the grant of authorization to its officers by way of an executive instrument to enable them to prosecute criminal offenses. Then he goes on. Consequently, any convictions, if any, secured by the respondent, that's the OSP, as a result of the purported exercise of prosecutorial power, is hereby declared void. And I order the trial of the persons convicted to be commenced de novo by the Attorney General, pending the response. That's all over again. Pending the respondent applying to the Attorney General for its officers to be authorized to conduct criminal prosecutions and the issue of the necessary executive instrument in that regard. In fact, he granted reliefs as well, and a cost of 15,000 Ghana cedis. against the special prosecutor. Did the trial judge answer this question on the table with this particular ruling, or has created a lot more challenges with what we are having to deal with in the first place?
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I think that the judge was completely wrong.
Why do you say so?
Especially this part of the judgment where he purports to declare all other convictions null and void, and order that the Attorney General takes control of all the other cases. Look, this is a high court. Now, another high court may have a completely different understanding of the provision he is reading. And that high court judge may decide that the matter continue because, in his belief, the OSP has the power to prosecute. And so for a high court judge to prepare to act as if he's sitting on the Supreme Court is for me completely unacceptable. High courts are courts of coordinate jurisdictions. He cannot order another high court judge to stop hearing the matter because of his misapprehension of this particular law. In fact, the judge, I don't know what he was on, because if you look at... No, I mean, ask him. No, I'm not running the judge down. I'm just saying.
Hold on, gentlemen, hold on.
No, it's not an attack. It's just to make sure that Lawyer hasn't made his mark.
Hold on, gentlemen.
If you are making your point, slow down.
It is for me to tell him. It is for me to tell him to.
It's a question of profile.
It is for me to tell him to withdraw.
Made his mark at the bar. The fact that you're on TV doesn't mean that
it is for him to withdraw. It is for me to tell him.
Slow down. You haven't made your mark at the bar.
Hold on.
It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. That means you can challenge me. You against Eugene.
Really, is that how you're supposed to?
Yes, I just have to remind you so that you'll be humble. So that you'll be humble. Because you have a profile.
No.
Listen, I think that whoever is doing this to you, I think you need to.
I'm just reminding you so that be humble.
Because
so that be humble.
Somebody is doing something to him.
Ladako, here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. Hold on.
I'll leave him.
Yes, so
but here's what I want you to do. What I want you to do is the earlier point you made about you don't know what the judge is on. That's what I want you to say.
Completely wrong.
Not getting to the personality of the judge.
And I fear for Martin, well, I'll deal with him later. I'm saying that if you look at what the judge said, look at page 21 of his judgment and the last part, just to buttress the point I'm making. After saying that this provision where he was making reference to other jurisdictions where we have special prosecutors, and said that Ghana doesn't have one of them. And so he says that this is not the situation in Ghana, probably because Article 88 of the Constitution is entrenched. Yes, because there was a need to meet a campaign promise, some legislative gymnastics and re-engineering had to be done. This is a judge talking about a law passed by Parliament. Can you imagine? He calls it a campaign promise and some legislative gymnastics.
This is Obita.
Well, this is page 21 of his judgment. All right? And so I'm saying that what the judge sought to do was to run down the OSP, arrogate to himself powers he doesn't have, because he had no power to order that all the cases in those high courts should be taken away from the OSP. He doesn't have that power. But I think that this whole OSP thing, we should understand the politics. And that is why people like my friend Martin, they get so incensed. Because he mentioned we know the history.
I was just
everybody supported this office to fight corruption. Okay? Including all the people who are now saying that the OSP office is unconstitutional. And the OSP office function and under an NPP government, okay, the OSP attacked NPP ministers, NPP functionaries, okay? We called the president, so-called mother serpent of corruption. He did not collapse the OSP. But so-called apostles of Ora are the people who are clamoring for the collapse of the OSP. Those who claim they are apostles of Ora. They believe that OSP doesn't have the power to fight corruption. But here's the deal.
The authorization to prosecute cases, that's different from the fight corruption.
Because now they think that the OSP is now... Look, let me tell you why. The very day my brother Martin People was arrested, okay, that was the very first time that Fiamepo and the majority leader came to Parliament and said that the OSP has outlived its usefulness and that they are going to bring an act of Parliament to repeal it. A week after, there was an act of Parliament to repeal the OSP Act. That was
the private members.
The bill. They brought a bill.
Private members bill.
They brought a bill to repeal the act a week after Martin People had been arrested. They had seen that now the OSP was turning its eye on the NDC, so they had to do everything to not bring the
lawyer Martin People and
okay, I'll leave that to it.
Okay. And was there a corruption case? Was there a corruption case?
So here's the point.
Was there a corruption case?
So here's the point.
You see,
these are the bars.
So the NDC.
Is there a corruption case against
the NDC? We know what they are doing. Look at the case that was brought to the Supreme Court. A certain Noah Ephraim, who works with the current Deputy Attorney General, and Joyce Mutari Bawa, they are in the same law office. This gentleman brings a case before the Supreme Court, saying that the OSP office is unconstitutional. Guess what the Attorney General goes to say? They go and submit to judgment. That we agree with everything this gentleman is saying. This gentleman, if you hadn't known that this gentleman was working with the Deputy Attorney General and Joyce Mutari Bawa, you would think that it's just an independent person who has gone to the Supreme Court for interpretation. This is what we are calling sentence. Okay, so it has always been the desire of this government. Now that the OSP is done with the NPP, they believe that the OSP is turning its eye on the NDC because there are a lot of things going on in their government right now. It is their wish to collapse the OSP, and that is what they have sought to do. So if you come to now, you want me to come to the 4-2 of the 9-5.
Okay, but no, Prof. I will give you that. I'll come to you.
You are not the moderator. You are not the moderator. You are not the moderator.
I'll come to you. Now, your microphone is off. So, the Honorable John Dako, because you reference, hold on.
No, this is the majority leader. Who heads the government?
Hold on.
The head of the government.
Professor Jampo, your microphone is off. Your microphone is off.
So now, please.
Your microphone is off. Your microphone is off. Now, when you referenced what happened after Lawyer Martin People, when you referenced what happened, Lawyer Martin People, Lawyer Martin People's arrest was not with a criminal matter. It wasn't a matter of corruption. Hold on. Okay, I'm coming. And then the second issue is, no, you continue. In fact, you have your time. When this private member's motion, the president then intervened.
If you don't know.
With the intervention of the president. Okay, proceed. 4-2. This particular outcome. This particular outcome. Let's go back to 8.
It was a joint project.
Let's go back to 884.
Now, so this is the point.
Okay, your microphone is off. You're not heard. So yes, no, you can. But go ahead, Mr. Dako.
So you see,
you speak. You continue talking.
When you look at the...
No, you cannot make
for example, I don't think that you're not helping.
Salary will still be paid. The teacher salaries have been paid.
You are not helping.
Your salaries will be paid at the end of the month.
You are not helping.
The salaries of teachers will be paid, so you can afford to sit here and say these kinds of things.
Thank you, Mr.
At the end of the month, your salary will be paid.
Prof.
The teachers in this country, their salaries are not being paid. So you can sit here and say all these kinds of things. Yes, the teachers.
John Dako.
Focus on the issue.
Let me.
Yes.
This is 884. You were referencing 80. What exactly has?
So here's the point. I believe that the OSP office, okay, as set up, is properly mandated to initiate proceedings. Of course, you understand Article 88, 3 and 4. We know, but the act when it was passed maybe we should all go back as we give everybody a chance to read. So subject to clause 4 of Article 88, the office shall, for the purpose of this act, be authorized by the Attorney General. And so by the creation of this act, the Attorney General, the OSP, had been given the authorization, one-time authorization, and that they did not need to go to the Attorney General's office every time to go and seek for clearance or authorization by the creation of the law. You understand? How is it that an office which was set up to be independent, of the executive, okay, be interpreted to mean that at every turn they will have to go to the Attorney General's office for authorization before they can institute an action? How? The office was set up to be independent, and that is the most important thing. Look, the Attorney General today can be removed by the president without the president giving any reason, and the president can appoint anybody. Of course, that's the only constitutional provision that requires a lawyer, that you can appoint a lawyer to be there, any lawyer to be there, to do the bidding of the president. That is not the case for the special prosecutor. The special prosecutor cannot just be removed. There are processes for the removal of the special prosecutor. So this office was created to give independence to the OSP, and that it did not require that everything the OSP will have to go to the AG's office for authorization. Section 4.2 gave one-time authorization to the OSP to prosecute cases. And that is why I think that the judge was completely wrong. Well, of course, judges make mistakes. And that is why there are appeal processes. So I think that there was a complete misapprehension of 4.2 and for him to require to see an authorization before a case can continue was completely wrong.
But you see, how does 4.2 take superior authority over 88.4?
Or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law.
Yes.
In accordance with any law.
So this
the OSP Act.
All offenses.
And the Act gives him the power. It gives one-time authorization.
Okay. No. Hold on. So, gentlemen, what is the... So, this is what 88.4 says. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana.
Your sushi matter. This is the last time you use sushi on this table.
Please.
And that will sushi you.
Let's go.
What do you mean? Obadi now, eh?
Hold on, gentlemen. Let me, please.
Yes.
What we intend to do with this conversation is to establish... No. We have explained our opinions and then also suggest what has to be done going forward. What I don't appreciate is the interjections that I haven't allowed.
Exactly. When I'm speaking.
So this should not go on. Gentlemen, let's have a decorous conversation this morning.
Good.
Thank you very much. You reference 88.4, all offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law.
At 5.9.
So that's where you bring in at 959.
Yes.
But that's what I was asking. At 959 is an ally.
No, it's not.
No, it's not an ally. It's a law, but it's a law. Act 959 is a law, just like Act 30.
It's also a law.
So,
but this is an
Act 30, which gives you this specifically.
It's an ally.
So, but if you look at Article 11, the hierarchy of law specifically tells us exactly what law supersedes the other. So the Act cannot take subsidies over the Constitution.
Not the same Constitution that is differing to. Isn't it the same Constitution differing to any law?
Wait.
So that's the
I am with him. I'm not coming to you as yet.
At least on this guy is with me. So
we have here that.
Even Martin is with you.
Come to you.
This Martin is with you.
So see, it is the Constitution that says that somebody can be authorized in accordance with any law.
Any law.
And that any law is the 959.
Mr. Okansi, simple point.
You understand?
Any law.
End your point. I'll come to you to whether or not what I'm saying is right or yes. End your point.
So I mean, I think at this point there's really no argument. I think that the judge was wrong. I believe that the Supreme Court will do the right thing when this matter comes before them, and they will interpret this in the line in which I am making this argument.
Okay.
That in accordance with any other law, it's the 959, and in the 959, the Attorney General has been, or the OSP has been authorized to initiate any proceedings.
So
okay, thank you. That's the point you disagree.
The Attorney General to always control his power. It's his. He gives it when he wants. No, was he alienating? It was alienating.
I allow this intervention. I allow this intervention. I allow this intervention.
So that is why
I want to hear. Hold on.
And go to a repeal process.
Mr. No, I'm not coming back to you again if you do this.
So that,
please.
yes. So by the submissions of the Attorney General, etc. Remember, I've told you that this man. Look, as we sit here,
so after that,
yes, you will.
Because now you will have your point.
Look, we've told that there are this in different schools of thought.
Okay.
As we sit now, the established one. Look, the established one, the common one we are all using, is called an EI. So it's for the first time that we're going to hear whether the Supreme Court will endorse that Gloria Kufu's allies and the Act can bind subsequent Attorney General. Right now, we don't have a decision that says so. Because
why do you need a decision? It's a law.
No, please,
any law.
No. But I told you that there's a fundamental constitutional principle that a previous government's executive powers, etc., don't bind successors. And I'm saying the power to prosecute. Yes, the power. Very good. The power to prosecute is an executive power in the Constitution. So if you somehow go and put it in legislature, and that legislative thing is not higher than the Constitution, you've not done anything. And that's why they say if you cut your tongue and chew it.
No. It's an constitutional power.
Okay, very good. So, but they do it through executive decisions. That's what I mean. So once it's in the Constitution, let's get this argument. I don't want politics on this matter. The Supreme Court.
You've always done politics.
No. I'm talking as a lawyer. Please, let viewers hear well. All we are saying is that under the Constitution, this in 88.4 you see, it's saying that the Attorney General has the power to prosecute, right? Okay. It's his. And so, once it's his, we are saying today, he can tell all the police people, and we've been advocating that even we shouldn't let police prosecute, etc. Yes, so I'll just end in 3 sentences. So at any point, Attorney General can stop all the policemen today. He can stop all the Senate officers, GRA, etc. But you are saying that, as for OSP, because you went and passed Act 595, he cannot stop. That's what you are saying. And we are saying that's not it. He can stop everybody. So once you appreciate that he can stop everybody, then it means that in Act 595, you've not taken away his powers. He only can allow it to continue if he wants to. And he is saying in this current suit that he has not authorized. So meaning that Attorney General is saying he wants to use the...
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sorry, but you can't take independence from the Constitution.
Thank you.
Go ahead and amend the Constitution.
And let's
so
you see,
we want
that's Section 4. Thank you. That's Section 4. Take a look at this. Take a look at this. Gentlemen, hold on. That's Section 4.2 of Act 959. Cure this. Does it cure this matter of whether or not the Attorney General hold on. Whether or not the AG has to give authorization every time to the special prosecutor?
Thank you very much, moderator. And I'm very happy I have listened to everybody. And you haven't listened to me. I haven't listened to my good brother. No, but I have his mind. You see, constitutions grow by judicial interpretations. It is a caveat in law that allows the Constitution to be interpreted with modernity in mind and obviously purposefully. So we don't have to rewrite constitutions every now and again. So that is why we have the Supreme Court there. Everything that we have said here is important and necessary and also correct. Except that we need to have a structured approach to solving the problem, which will be everlasting. But for now, every opinion expressed will remain legal opinion of expressors, not actually the position of the law. So we know that the Attorney General is required to give transfer a mandate to OSP as per 88(4) of the Constitution. Now the situation is whether or not that expression of authorization is one time or concurrent at any time sought. Okay. Or whether as you are asking me the question, the act of OSP is even relevant in consideration of the 88(4) of the Constitution. Indeed, I was privy to the drafting of the OSP Act. And believe me, this same subject took us a whole day in debate.
Authorization?
Yes, whether or not the authorization. But the argument was that it was coming from the office of the Attorney General. And the Attorney General was mentioned in the Constitution to give the authorization. And it's the same Attorney General who has sponsored this bill to create the office of OSP. And it is still the same Attorney General who has also sponsored the LI to effectuate the act. So it is deemed that the Office of Attorney General would have given that mandate. Nevertheless, we come to this situation of an application which is not seeking judicial interpretation or constitutional interpretation. The application is a judicial review which is considered by a high court under the rules. And indeed, there was a respondent who was saying that whether or not the high court had jurisdiction.
Yes.
And indeed, it comes under Order 55 of civil procedure rules applicable at the high court. So immediately, if application like that comes, the high court obviously, in reference to the rules of court.
So it had jurisdiction. But the question was whether it could defer to the Supreme Court, because this same matter was before the Supreme Court, or is before the Supreme Court.
It was an application just like a certiorari application or a mandamus application. And this was a quo warranto. Yes. It was a judicial review application. So obviously the court has jurisdiction. Yes. So the court made a determination. Oh, please, no, Prof. Let's move on. So, no, he knows. So now the application came for another quo warranto challenging.
That is essentially questioning the authority of a particular body to take OSP. A particular action. Yes.
So the jurisdiction was there. Now, if you look at the intention behind the creation of that office, it was meant to be independent, and it is in the law. So, and how could we have an independent institution within the Constitution that we have, given that 88(4) also submits the same office to the jurisdiction of Attorney General? And this is the problem, the gap that we need to fill. And all of us who have said something is trying to create a situation that will affect the bill. Now, considering the independent situation, we cannot still have an office that submits to another person and consider that person as independent. So it must be independent in truth and in operation and in fact.
Correct.
And if we want to find that independence, it cannot exist under the prevailing legal structure. Okay. And therefore, the solution there is that go to Supreme Court. What the Supreme Court says is law. Yeah. And let the Supreme Court gather all these opinions and say, did the premise of the law intend to create a one-stop authorization for OSP, and therefore, upon the coming into effect of OSP Act, OSP is deemed independent and does not need any further authorization from Attorney General. And the Constitution will be interpreted purposefully, considering the supplementary laws, to give a direction which is law for all of us to follow. And therefore, there is a need for the Supreme Court to speak and say that pursuant to the filing of the bill, OSP, promotion by Attorney General, and promotion of the legislative instruments by Attorney General, and considering the intention of the Attorney General to create an independent entity in OSP, Article 88.4 is interpreted to mean that pursuant to the enactment aforementioned, the OSP is perpetually given a mandate.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that becomes law, so that OSP, we are not dealing with,
He's just making
individuals, but we are dealing with
your
office.
position about it. Otherwise, you continue.
Otherwise, we may have to amend the
959
88.4. 88.4. Please let me finish.
Okay.
Otherwise, the only other way is to amend the 88.4. And it is also an entrenched provision which will require a referendum, which makes it even more difficult. But if the Supreme Court comes through interpretation and gives us a direction like that, then that becomes law. No, it will be difficult. So, no. Listen, we cannot speak for Supreme Court. We cannot be Supreme Court and say that is not possible.
So the Supreme Court's declaration on this matter will cure this situation.
Means that there must be a direction pointed by the Supreme Court. Because when the Supreme Court speaks only where there's a matter before it.
It's true. That's what brings me to the earlier question on Sunday. That if the Supreme Court is expected to speak and answer this same question, bothering on whether or not the special prosecutor has authorization to prosecute cases on its own.
No. Then not on its own. Whether or not upon the passage of these laws.
No.
OSP is deemed to have secured the authorization.
That is at the heart of the Noah Adamte Tete case.
Right.
That's why I was asking that the trial judge in this High Court matter have to make this pronouncement, taking into consideration the fact that this same question is pending before the Supreme Court to answer.
Yes. So the trial court made its determination based on the facts before it and the arguments of counsel before him. And that I personally believe that based on law and the rules, he made a good determination. Albeit that the places where he was bearing to partisan interests, I think that could be considered as an arbiter. It comes through judgments every now and again. But that is not.
Yeah, in paper number 3, the Supreme Court and Parliament was lousy, they didn't read the laws, etc. There are many decisions where they take on Parliament.
Such arbiter as a
it's good. It's a warning to Parliament.
Please.
It's a warning to Parliament so that you do a better job.
In frenzy of judicial pronouncements, you say it happens. And as he's saying, it could be taken as a warning. And indeed, I want the judges also sometimes to be innovative and overly criticize also other sectors of economy or when we are not doing right. Because the court is deemed to be the sanctuary of all our freedoms. And therefore, if somebody is misbehaving and they veer off and discipline you somehow linguistically, I think that is in order. So my position, and I want to finish, is that the executive instrument we are relying on may not work in the face of the Constitution. The Act itself may not work in the face of the Constitution. And therefore, the Constitution must be interpreted somehow purposefully to indicate a position that all of us must follow. So based on all the arguments canvassed this morning, I think there is a need for the Supreme Court to speak.
But does the current architecture of the law preclude the special prosecutor from not going to the Attorney General for authorization?
Now, and in the light of this confusion, and it is necessary upon the judgment of the court now, it is necessary for the OSP to go. But the judge says that Attorney General should assume the cases being
exactly. That's another consequence
OSP.
of the.
But again, if the OSP's actions are nullified,
what is he going to take over?
Are the cases for him to take over? And taking over from where? If we go by the judgment of the court that the OSP didn't have capacity to even start, then there's nothing before the courts for the Attorney General
to take over.
And again, if people have been convicted,
they said to start de novo.
Yes, they have to start de novo.
So go and start. So
all over again?
All over, that's the meaning. Go and start all over.
In fact, if
that's how
the intervention of the OSP is nullified, then it means everything he would have done in the prosecution is also nullified. And therefore, Attorney General is going to start all the cases again. But the danger is that if somebody has been convicted under the prosecution of the Attorney General, what will happen?
He said the state will have free.
Yeah, but the state will have to pay compensation there.
True.
Because people have been convicted unlawfully. You understand? So the legal implications are also there. Let's not forget them. And it's bordering on people's human rights.
Just one sentence.
No, I'll come to you.
It's bordering on people's human rights, so we cannot wish them away. So, yes, there's the need for us to see harmony in the hierarchy of our laws and see that we as Ghanaians have a conviction to create an independent office who will fight corruption for Ghana. But before I end, the act of the OSP Act, it is not only the prosecution that is the mandate of the OSP expected by the Act. You see, the more important one is under Section 2 of the OSP Act. As it takes steps to prevent corruption, it's bigger than the prosecution that we are even fighting on. And the B says, recover proceeds of corruption and corruption-related offenses. Is it not better than the prosecution we are talking about?
We like the office.
You understand? So the office.
How are you going to do it to that prosecutorial powers?
Wait. The office has, and even in A, they say investigate and prosecute. We are fighting over the prosecution and forgetting about the investigation capacity of the OSP.
But if you can investigate and you
I'll come to you. So if you are doing this,
but again, let me end by also going to 4, where we have, is it 4? No, 3, where we have also the functions, and where they say that they should receive, recover and manage the proceeds of corruption. I don't agree at all. Recovery, I agree.
But managing, I don't understand.
Because when you go to collect the state funds, because state funds are coming out of corruption, and then you say that recover and manage. I understand the recovery, but I don't understand the recovery. Because
thank you very much.
That will be the source of corruption.
Senor, I'm going to come to you, but I have to go for this quick break. I'm going to come to you. Okay. What I'll be finding out, from the lawyers, and I'll come to you, is how far back this particular consequential order of the trial judge goes. Is it with regard to specific cases that Kisi Jabin as a person has presided over or prosecuted, or it goes far back as Martin Amidu as special? It's one that we need to establish, because the wording of this ruling says that the prosecutorial powers is hereby declared void. In fact, all cases declared void.
It is the takeover,
and the trial of the persons convicted to be commenced all over again by the Attorney General. So does that mean that all cases, right from the inception of this office till date, is one that is divided? We'll answer that question after this quick break. Stay with us.
This Sunday on Hot Issues. This government has shown itself to better handle the power sector. Do you disagree?
It's doing so now almost everywhere. I don't know if you've not experienced it. They created the problem. So if they are managing it well, the credit will go to them because they created the problem.
This government has made announcement of a revamped tour. How would you assess the operation so far?
My sister, in reality, tour has a problem.
But your government had 8 years to do that. It didn't do any of that.
It didn't do it. And it shouldn't be one government. It should be a policy for the state.
Do you expect electricity costs to go up soon?
What reasons are they going to give that based on this, we have to increase electricity?
When you tell us even yes, COVID, we survive.
We survive. So he has to do something.
Very long conversation.
No, he has to do something for us also to survive.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
This Sunday on Hot Issues. This government has shown itself to better handle the power sector. Do you disagree?
It's doing so now almost everywhere. I don't know if you've not experienced it. They created the problem. So if they are managing it well, the credit will go to them because they created the problem.
This government has made announcement of a revamped tour. How would you assess the operation so far?
My sister, in reality, tour has a problem.
But your government had 8 years to do that. It didn't do any of that.
It didn't do it. And it shouldn't be one government. It should be a policy for the state.
Do you expect electricity costs to go up soon?
What reasons are they going to give that based on this, we have to increase electricity?
When you tell us even yes, COVID, we survive.
We survive. So he has to do something.
Very long conversation.
No, he has to do something for us also to survive.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
This Sunday on Hot Issues. This government has shown itself to better handle the power sector. Do you disagree?
It's doing so now almost everywhere. I don't know if you've not experienced it. They created the problem. So if they are managing it well, they create.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7 and a number of radio stations across the country. Also the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London Television as well. So it's probably brought to you by Bank of Africa, as close as a partner, as strong as a group. Now, activate your dormant account with Bank of Africa. Enjoy our refreshed products and services, including our enhanced SME support facility, the US dollar debit card, and then also the credit card and more. You may also update your account with Bank of Africa at any Bank of Africa branch with your Ghana card. Kindly reach our call center on this number 0302 429 333, 0302 429 333 or 0302 429 690, 0302 496 690 for some more. And also you can reach them at www.boaghana.com for support or enquiries, or you can chat Fafa at www.boaghana.com for support and enquiries. The two numbers to call their call center, that's the Bank of Africa, 0302 429 333 and 0302 249 690, 0302 249 690. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Also, GASEM building Ghana strongly. Now, we would get into the question that I asked earlier regarding how far the consequence of this particular ruling will go regarding the cases that the special prosecutor, not the person, but the office, has prosecuted over the period. But before that, I just want us to quickly do something. Earlier, before we went on the break, there was some interjections as well that got the conversation a bit, of course, and some statements were made. Sort of do just quickly just withdraw that statement.
That's why there was this word I used, which I shouldn't have. I apologize and withdraw it unreservedly. Yes, okay. It happens once in a while. 2 weeks ago, somebody said I sound like a carpenter, mason, bricklayer. I didn't even respond.
Right.
So sometimes in these conversations, let's also try to accommodate. All right.
Thank you. John Dako, the specific reference you made to the trial judge on his position on this matter.
Thank you very much. And I mean, I also accept the apology as rendered by my friend and brother. I think the point I was making was that I did not know what the judge was on about with his, if you may call it, the orbiter, especially when he sought to suggest that the OSP Act, was part with some legislative gymnastics. And it was re-engineering,
You are not going to re-engineer the whole thing.
So I'm just trying to say that the problem is that I didn't know what he was not about with this particular statement. I think we didn't finish. I didn't finish the statement when I was cut off, and so just to make the statement clear,
I see. Okay, there's a number of messages. Senor, I'll come to you. Okay. Lawyer Godwin Edujitamaklo, the NPA CEO, says, I have read and listened to the discussions this morning. Very interesting suggestions that Parliament, by reason of Section 4.2 of the OSP Act, purportedly clothed the OSP with retroactive authorization to prosecute cases on behalf of the Attorney General. A careful reading of Section 4.2 of the Act shows that Parliament didn't have such powers to delegate Parliament to delegate. It says Parliament is a creator of the Constitution itself, just as the Attorney General. Article 88 was inserted into the Constitution for a policy reason. The executive president must have control over prosecutions through the Attorney General. The 1992 Constitution has its own character, generally executive-minded. So Parliament could not have created any bypass of Article 88 in any fanciful legal engineering. The nature of authorization contemplated under Section 4 of the OSP Act is definitely prospective. To this end, the suggestion that the OSP had authorization from birth is just a colorful emotional reaction to a legal quagmire.
Yeah.
No, but you didn't let us respond to this last.
That question is pending.
Okay.
You will answer before we end.
Yes. You answered it before.
No. Please.
You know, if you watch the conclave, there's something that it talks about certainty, and certainty being one of the biggest risks that people would have in life. I have concerns about the NDC, and I think that as a political and a policy house, they need to have some introspection. They are the leading party of their time. They are the most popular party today. That popularity has not materially lost in any way. It's not certain that that will be the case in the next few years or not. So their conduct every time must be guided, and nobody should feel complacent about where you are. Even Jesus, since we are still in the month of Easter, even when he was about to die, he himself expressed uncertainty, saying and calling on God that why have thou forsaken me? So please, NDC, be careful about the extent of your confidence. This issue about the OSP is quite integral to the policy and political sentiments of Ghanaians. Martin was right. It was a strong groundswell. There was very little tolerance anymore. That tolerance hasn't gone. How you react, you manage, you communicate as a party would continue to shape people's perception and thinking and their continuous allegiance to you. Never think that the economy alone is enough to solve a problem. Things happen. So I beg, that's my first message to the NDC. You see, the preamble of our constitution, I like to go to our constitution because it is the guiding framework for our policy, actions, decisions, and how we want to live. And I continue to tell Ghanaians, the constitution is your property. It's not the property of any lawyer. As a matter of fact, you have more carpenters, more non-lawyers, more businessmen, more hairdressers, all participating in this than any other constitution before. In fact, the Ghana Bar Association refused to participate in it. This constitution belongs to us. It belongs to you. You, the barber, you, the hawker, you, the carpenter, you, the footballer, you, the trader, the market mokola woman, you, the businessman, tycoon, kuntai, whatever it is. It belongs to you. It doesn't belong to lawyers. So always look at it and take inspiration and be guided by it. Again, one of the people who educated me rightly on this matter, Samson Ladi and Martin Kpebu. The preamble of our constitution commits and shapes the value framework for how we should live and how policy should actually be treated. It commits Ghana to freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. So any interpretation, any conversation around the OSP's mandate must be tested against these founding values. The OSP idea, what was it about? It was all created so that we can operationalize that promise of the Constitution on probity and accountability. That is the simple matter. So if when the court or anybody of us want to have the conversation, we have to look at those fundamental promises and values that we want to achieve. We didn't do this out of anything. We did it because we wanted to achieve and deliver it, because the constitutional framework, the operational framework, the policy and all the laws that we had was not optimizing this issue of probity and accountability. So we have the directing principles of state policy, which is under chapter 6, right, of our constitution. Mm-hmm. The first thing it tells us, and let me read 34.1. The directive principles of state policies contained in this chapter shall guide all citizens, Parliament, the President, the Judiciary, the Council of State, the Cabinet, political parties, and other bodies and persons in applying or interpreting the Constitution, this Constitution, or any other law, or in taking and implementing any policy decisions for the establishment of a just and free society, what 34.1 is reminding us is that this constitution and this must advance justice and accountability. So when we discuss this OSP's mandate, it cannot be read in a way that undermines the fight against corruption, which in itself is also captured under the directive principles of state policy. Take 35.8. It imposes a duty on the state to eradicate corruption. This duty must inform how we absolutely engage or discuss this entire OSP conversation. The need to fight corruption is a constitutional demand. And in trying to realize that, we realized we needed to have a vehicle for independence, because who largely perpetuates the corruption is led by the executive. That's it. So if the same executive has to prosecute itself, you would have a problem. I don't have no problems with the complexities that we have, but our speak and trying to interpret our constitution and our laws must be guided largely by these fundamental things. So when we take Article 88 and we want to interpret Article 88 in such a way that undermines our ability to deliver probity accountability, that in itself, we should also remember, is even in contravention with the philosophy and the principles governing our own constitution. How would the Attorney General effectively prosecute their own in this politically charged environment? And I want to beg everybody, let's discuss this thing more in line with the institution, not necessarily with the persons. Ayini is not going to be AG every day. All right, Ajiji could be president tomorrow, okay? And he's a great lawyer, he's a great academic. He was part of the process of passing this particular one. And in all honesty, from what I gather from his colleagues, he was one of the most active in correcting the gaps that the original bill and drafting came in.
That's correct.
So I mean, it's somebody I give a lot of respect and credit to. There are times that we find complexities. Our constitution was made for our living. We were not made for the constitution. That is why I really appreciate what, again, you, Martin, educated me, together with Samson, that you currently have with our jurisprudence the modern purposive approach to interpreting our laws and our constitution. So MOPA guides us. What exactly is the real object? What exactly was the purpose of these laws, of our constitution, in delivering this value? When you line them up together, you realize there's a need for the Supreme Court to bring into practice and operationalization this particular aspiration. That this aspiration is not an aspiration that seeks to maintain the 84 in its current state. Look, anybody, when we speak against this, we seem to suggest we want to perpetuate corruption. The truth is, there's always room for improvement by any occupant in the OSP. So we may have problem with how the occupant of the OSP is playing the game today. All right? Let's work on how we improve that. Yes. But when we deal with the institution, we end up crashing it down. We actually still expose ourselves to the bigger problems that we had before. Today, whether we like it or not, when people are acting, people think about the risk of a special prosecutor. When I discuss my business with even my international partners today, people are worried about the risk because the man can come after almost anybody. So let's make sure we draw the line. Every contract that has to be done, they want to make sure every T is crossed, every I is dotted. So that construct is important. Without prosecutorial powers, we cannot achieve it. You cannot achieve your investigation, because when you investigate and then one AG says no, what happens? It's moot. And if one person can unwind everything, what will be the fear?
When you are prosecuting and somebody files a nollie prosecutor, you are finished.
You are done. You are done. And those things are political decisions.
That is why
they are political decisions. Understand this, and I speak as a lecturer of policy. The house of policy is not economics. It's politics.
Okay.
You understand? So if we don't hold the politics in check, it will unwind the policy intent that we ourselves sought to in creating a government which, according to our, you know what, this preamble, I beg you, my brother, let me just read this preamble in the Constitution.
I like the way you've been reading it. It's good.
You are the ones who educated me on this thing. Good. Look, in the name of the Almighty God, we the people of Ghana, in exercise of our natural and inalienable right to establish a framework of government which shall secure for ourselves and posterity. So these things are not just for us, also for our children and our children's children. The blessings of liberty, equality of opportunity and prosperity, in a spirit of friendship and peace with all peoples of the world, and in solemn declaration and affirmation of our commitment to freedom, justice, probity, and accountability. The principle that all powers of government spring from the sovereign will of the people. The principle of universal adult suffrage, the rule of law, the protection and preservation of fundamental human rights and freedoms, unity and stability of our nation, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this constitution. The will of the people must reign supreme. It is the will of the people that for corruption and corruption-related practices, an independent person runs, leads, and directs it without influence from the executive, so we can continue to trust in our governance and deliver the value of probity and accountability.
So the confidence in the institution across the table is there. The institution is needed. That is, the Special Prosecutor's Office is needed. How then do we address this situation?
That's why I refer to the modern...
Without compromising the essence of...
Yeah, that's why I refer to the modern purposive approach, MOPA, to our jurisdiction, to our jurisprudence. So the Constitution, the Supreme Court, rightly as Mr. President, has the opportunity right now to bring finality and clarity. But more importantly, I think that NDC, as the ruling government, their speak, their posturing must actually enable the relevance and reflect the will of the people. The people want a certain level of independence. That's what the president, and I commend him. Look, when Dafia Mekpo is our brother, and Ayaga went in, of course they were reacting. He's my brother too. It was reacting. They were reacting to a particular situation. The president put his foot down and said that, please pull this back. And he did.
Thank you.
It reflects the government's policy position. This is what the president is thinking. So members of the MPP and NDC, please speak in unison on this matter,
the pending
on the
question,
policy impact and relevance.
This is where I'm ending. The pending question, and let me just remind you that in the next 4 days, between the 22nd of April and the 2nd of May, Ocean Bells Travel and Tours is organizing a trade and leisure tour to China. Call them on 0242 037280, 0242 037280 to be part of this tour to China for 11 days between April 22nd and 2nd of May, and it starts from $1,555. $1,555. The number to call Ocean Bells Travel and Tour is 0242 037280. This is what the trial judge says. Consequently, any convictions, if any, secured by the respondent, that's the OSP, as a result of the purported exercise of prosecutorial power, is hereby declared void. How far does this particular consequence go? Is it specific to Kisia Jabeng or as far as the inception of this office? Quickly, to the both of you.
Yeah, quickly. Once he's saying that it's void, that's his decision, meaning that everything.
Since the inception of the office?
Yes, because he's saying all except that during Martin Amidu's time, there was no conviction. I'm not aware of a conviction during Martin Amidu's time. But the more important thing I want us to stress is that, please, this statement that is void, and so people are thinking they can sue, please, before you say you sue, maybe read table number 2 well. The Supreme Court held at that time when they were doing the non-bailable decision, after saying that the laws, the 96-7, in simple terms, after saying the non-bailable laws were unconstitutional, then they added that, but it doesn't mean if you were so it goes forward. So people couldn't get compensation. So I'm sure this, well, even if maybe as a lawyer, I shouldn't say I'm sure. It's likely any court to be following the Supreme Court in table number 2. So meaning going forward.
Thank you.
Well, yes. So I think, like Martin said, really what it means is that it goes all the way back. But I believe that this whole judgment in itself is problematic, and that I think that the judge actually acted in excess of his jurisdiction when he made this pronouncement, because he's virtually making an order.
In fact, that question was asked by him, whether or not there is a matter of constitutional interpretation. He says it is within his jurisdiction. He referenced Republic versus
I'm not even talking about
all the others.
I'm not even talking about interpretation. You know,
Okay.
I made a point earlier that you sit as a high court judge, you are in general jurisdiction.
Right.
You cannot have a decision which is binding on another high court. They are courts of coordinate jurisdiction.
Coordinate jurisdiction.
So that's why I say for that or that.
So
is
another
in
high
excess
court
of his
in
jurisdiction.
Kumasi could.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
This Sunday on Hot Issues. This government has shown itself to better handle the power sector. Do you disagree?
It's doing so now almost everywhere. I don't know if you've not experienced it. They created the problem. So if they are managing it well, the credit will go to them because they created the problem.
This government has made announcement of a revamped tour. How would you assess the operation so far?
My sister, in reality, all has a problem.
But your government had 8 years to do that. It didn't do any of that.
It didn't do it. And it shouldn't be one government. It should be a policy for the state.
Do you expect electricity costs to go up soon?
What reasons are they going to give that based on this, we have to increase electricity?
When you tell us even
yes,
COVID, we survive.
We survive. So he has to do
it's
something.
A very long conversation.
No, he has to do something for us also to survive.
Hot Issues shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.